Lamb Menard, who's had some trouble on kickoffs, keeping them in bounds, will boot it away. And right on cue, out of bounds, penalty flag. Well, this was a great matchup last year. It featured Antonio Richardson, the left tackle, against Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney beat Richardson on one of the key plays of the game to force a fumble and to preserve the win. Richardson remembers this is going to be a matchup to watch today.
No, that was right before the game, and that was a huge play. Tennessee had a chance to win that game on that play, and Richardson played very well throughout that game, but he remembers that last play he gave up. He's called this a personal vendetta for 365 days from last year. We'll see how he plays emotionally this game.
And they start with good field position because of the kickoff out of bounds on the Tennessee 35-yard line. Here's the quarterback, Justin Worley, and a blitz coming. And it's Neal. And he'll lose yardage on the screen pass. Clowney made the tackle. It was interesting. Coaches had to even sit Richardson down this week just to remind him, hey, this isn't personal. It's team against Clowney. It's not you versus Clowney. And on that play we just showed you from last year, Richardson said it was my bad. I made it personal because the protection was designed to come my way, and I made the mistake. Here's Clowney again, taking down Pig Howard. So he's made 2 plays already. Another loss on the play. That one about 6 yards.
Well, they try to block him with the tight end, Brendan Downs, and he just whiffs. For my money, I'm going to have my best player, which is Antonio Richardson, blocking their best player. I'm not going to have my tight end try to block him second play of the game. No chance.
And look out here on 3rd down and 18, coming off the edge, number 7. That's Pig Howard in motion. They block Clowney here, but the pass is high downfield and incomplete, intended for Marquez North. Ahmad Christian on the coverage, so Tennessee, after starting with decent field position because of the kickoff out of bounds, goes 3 and out.
And we talked with head coach Butch Jones last night, and he said the most important thing in this game offensively for us is to not come out and have 3 and outs. We have to have some sustained drives in this game to protect our defense against a very good South Carolina offense, and first drive they come out 3 and out.
Now Pilardi, who handles all the kicking duties for Tennessee, will punt. True freshman Pharoh Cooper is back for the Gamecocks. And Cooper unwisely let it bounce. And this will end up around the 8-yard line. Well done by Pilardi. 65-yard punt. And South Carolina 11th in the AP poll, and Connor Shaw, a big reason why he has not thrown an interception this season. And as a starter over the course of his career, he is 22-4, now 2 wins shy of tying the school record for wins by a QB.
And one of the biggest compliments that you can have as a quarterback is when your head coach describes you as being efficient, and that's what Steve Spurrier, the word that he uses to describe Connor Shaw. Protecting the football, making plays, he's been outstanding this year.
He'll hand it off here to Mike Davis, and he'll lose yardage. Loss of 1 on the play. Cameron Sutton is there for Tennessee. Impact players are brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Here's Tom Luginbill.
Well, for South Carolina, it's running back Mike Davis. Exceptional yards after contact as he's going to match up between the tackles with A.J. Johnson, the Tennessee linebacker. They cannot afford post-contact yardage to get to the second level for Tennessee on defense today.
Davis lost 2 yards on first down. He comes in leading the conference in rushing. Now Shaw will throw from his end zone, trying to create a running lane. He gets outside and then throws it away. Daniel Hood eventually forced him out, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 12.
Great coverage downfield from Tennessee. This is a secondary that has given up some big plays. They're young on the back end, starting some true freshmen in the nickel and dime situations. That's Cam Sutton, number 23, but Nice job on second and long there, forcing the scramble from Connor Shaw.
How about this is the 6th total play in this game? We have yet to have a positive play. Incompletion there, but the previous plays were all negative yardage. 3rd and 12 for Shaw out of an empty set. And Shaw will take off on the quarterback draw. And brought down by A.J. Johnson, short of the first down marker by about 3 yards. So the Gamecocks will punt.
That's a big stop from Tennessee defensively, just to give them some confidence. This is an explosive offense for South Carolina, but to come in, stop Mike Davis in a negative play, have good coverage on 2nd and 3rd down, and force a punt. Great start for Tennessee defensively.
Tyler Hall will kick it to Jacob Carter, and Tennessee should get good field position again. It's a short punt, and the fair catch made at the 46. Jadeveon Clowney came into this game on the season only 3 tackles for a loss. He's got 2 more. It happened on the first series.
Welcome back to Knoxville. Last year in this game was a colossal matchup between Antonio Richardson, Jadeveon Clowney. And the thing that stood out to me was Tony Richardson's patience and footwork. Take a look here. He's in good position, rides Jadeveon Clowney past the quarterback. He did that on a consistent basis in that game. But at the end of the game, he fell asleep one time and lost his patience. He went for the move and he lunged. His footwork was off, and he gave up the swim move to Clowney, which ended up being the play of the game that saved the game for South Carolina. All off season, Tiny Richardson's been thinking about that. In this game, we talked to him yesterday. The key for him is to be patient and not lunge at those moves.
Here's Neal on the carry, bounces off a defender, and picks up about 5 yards. Dave Pasch, Brian Griese, Tom Lugan, Bill, and Brian, what about from Clowney's perspective? Looks already like he's got something to prove. You know that he wants to play well against Richardson.
Absolutely
today.
Has something to prove. Richardson got the best of him last year in this game, and he just got one play at the end. But to me, Clowney's the guy that has to prove himself in this situation.
Clowney still is battling that muscle strain in his rib cage, which kept him out of the Kentucky game. Neal powering to the 47-yard line, so only a couple there. It'll bring up 3rd down. Clowney was back last week. South Carolina hammered Arkansas 52-7 in the most complete game the Gamecocks have played this year. Their resume just improved last night with UCF, a team that South Carolina beat on the road, knocking off previously undefeated Louisville. Worley rolling to his left, being chased, and Pig Howard able to hang on to it for a first down, and a penalty flag comes in.
That's just a playmaker there from Worley. He gets to the outside and he throws this ball before Pig Howard even turns around. Good thing he did. That ball could have been intercepted, but that's just making a play, obviously a broken play. And at the end, did they get a helmet-to-helmet contact?
I think you may have targeting here. Look at the blow delivered by Kadietrix Marcus, and the penalty flag was thrown, and Marcus was visibly upset when he saw the official signal.
Well, that's a big, if it is, that would be a huge penalty, because Chaz Elder, their starting safety, is already out of this game. And if Kadietrix Marcus is thrown out of this game, they're very thin at safety already.
Here's the call from Mark Curls.
Personal foul. Targeting the defensive player, number 25 defense, is disqualified. The 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the line. The previous play is under further review.
So they will look at it. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty no matter what. Now, replay can overturn the call on the field, meaning that Marcus would not be ejected. If the ruling is upheld, Marcus is gone for the game. If it's overturned, then he can come back, but the penalty would still stand.
Well, this isn't as violent a hit as we have seen in recent weeks, but it's still, by definition and by rule, this is targeting. When the helmet hits his helmet right there, you see that's a pretty cut and dry situation. Right. And that's just bad technique by Marcus there. It wasn't that I think he was trying to hurt somebody. He just can't put your helmet on his helmet.
He led with the crown, and He also hit above the shoulders. So that'll put the ball at the 21-yard line regardless of whether the ejection is overturned. And it's been about 25% of the time here through the first 2 months of the season where the ruling on the field has been overturned and the player has been allowed to stay in the game. You mentioned Elder is out already with the concussion, and they've had problems in the secondary. You had 3 guys that were benched last week in the Arkansas game.
Well, now the onus falls on T.J. Gurley and Bryson Williams, who are really the only 2 safeties that they have that have played at all this season. This is a huge loss.
Yep. Because I think you're right. It's going to be upheld because that is the definition of targeting right there. Good call by the official.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
There you go. So he's gone.
And again, I don't think that it was Kadrick Marcus's intent to hurt anybody. It's just bad technique. And this is what young players throughout college football are going to have to continue to learn, and coaches need to coach better.
Give Pig Howard credit too after getting hammered by Marcus, able to hold on to the ball. Neal on first down finds a hole and gets inside the 20 for about 3 yards.
Back to the strategy of this game. This is a great opportunity for Tennessee offensively to take advantage of that call with a first down just outside the 20-yard line. They have got to be able to establish the run in this game against the South Carolina front 7.
Tennessee has lost 19 straight games against ranked teams. The last win was in 09 against South Carolina. Had a little trouble with the exchange, and there's Clowney picking up the running back Neal and planting him. That looked like Michigan with the exception of the helmet coming off.
Richardson tries to log him on the outside. Boy, that really does look like Michigan. Everybody's been clamoring for Jadeveon Clowney to make this kind of hit, and it's his quickness off the ball that beats Richardson inside.
I know you've seen this before. Vincent Smith, hello. The only difference is the helmet came off here and the ball came out. Tennessee with a 3rd down and 9 after the Clowney hit. Worley with time towards the end zone, broken up and incomplete. The linebacker Marquise Roberts running with Rajon Neal out of the backfield, and it's 4th down, and Tennessee will bring on the field goal unit.
Well, that's one of the matchups that Tennessee wants to isolate are the backs on the linebackers. They feel like Rajon Neal, Marlon Lane can beat some of these linebackers for South Carolina in coverage, but that time a great job by Holloman.
Well, Pilardi on for a 37-yard try. And Tennessee strikes first. So 3-0 Tennessee early here in Knoxville.
College football on ESPN, presented by Cars.com.
Welcome back to Knoxville. South Carolina trailing 3-0, but Jadeveon Clowney has played 7 snaps, and he already has 2 tackles for a loss. Going up against Antonio Richardson, the talented left tackle for Tennessee.
Well, we talked about how emotional this game would be for Antonio Richardson, and he's come out, and I think he's trying to take the fight to Jadeveon Clowney a little bit too aggressively. He's got to be patient, as we said, let Clowney come to him and react. He's trying to go and get him, and Clowney's quickness has been too much.
This will be a touchback and come out to the 25 for South Carolina.
You take a look on that last hit. The quickness off the line of scrimmage is what sets Jadeveon Clowney apart, and Richardson's going to try to log him, but he gets inside, and that's, everybody talks about him rushing the passer. He's equally as good against the run, and that looks exactly like the hit, outside of him not losing the helmet that he had against Shaw in the bowl game.
What did Steve Spurrier tell Tom Luginbill on game day, or as Spurrier calls him Loogie? He said, Loogie, everybody expects that play. It's not going to happen every game. Well, it happened today. That will only further the legend of Jadeveon Clowney. Connor Shaw back to work for South Carolina. And through the hands of the intended receiver, Shaq Rowland, incomplete.
As you look at Antonio Richardson from his tackle position, it's very clear that he is setting based on Jadeveon Clowney's alignment and whether he has one hand on the ground or two hands on the ground. And Brian, you mentioned how he's been a bit over aggressive because now I think he's guessing and Jadeveon Clowney's changing it up. He gets the 4-point stance, yet he shoots inside, and I don't think Richardson expected that.
Not expecting to be that quick either. I mean, give Clowney some credit too. In the offseason, he's a little bit of a different player than he was against Richardson a year ago.
Play clock was at 1, and a penalty flag down. No play. It'll be delay of game.
Before the snap, delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second half.
Well, Connor Shaw trying to change the play at the line of scrimmage, getting it from the sideline, and that's on Connor Shaw, but it's also on the coaching staff and Steve Spurrier getting those plays and audibles from the line of scrimmage in a timely fashion.
So second down and 15. Shaw to throw again. It's a screen. And incomplete, intended for Mike Davis. Daniel Hood for Tennessee destroyed that play.
Guys, the stadium down here is deafening, and keep in mind, South Carolina is backed up. They've got terrible field positions this entire first quarter, and they're having a hard time communicating at the line, and the crowd is cranking up. The Gamecocks are going to have to come up with something to counter this crowd noise.
Well, Tennessee, even though it lost in its last game here 2 weeks ago against Georgia in overtime, gave the players and fans a sense of things going in the right direction for the program. Shaw has another drop pass, this by Mike Davis. So 2 drops on that possession, and it's 4th down.
And Tennessee brought pressure from the edge, and they had Davis wide open out there. He's going to outrun A.J. Johnson. If that ball is thrown in front of him by Connor Shaw, he had to get rid of it because of the blitzers, but you got to get that ball out in front, and it's a touchdown. It's a missed opportunity for Connor Shaw. Good read to identify that blitz pressure, just poor execution on the throw.
Here comes the punt with Young as the deep man. Another short kick. And a lot of traffic, but fair caught at the 45-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return. Tennessee ball. When we come back, 3-0. The Vols have the lead, but they're having trouble blocking number 7.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. Get the right car without all the drama. Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Great scene here in Knoxville. Tennessee trying to win its first league game. It's lost 16 of its last 18 SEC contests. An early 3-0 lead, an excellent starting field position again on the 45-yard line. And here's Rajon Neal off the right edge. Gets a handful before Chaz Sutton makes the stop. Junior quarterback Justin Worley started 3 games as a true freshman 2 years ago, so this is his 9th career start. See his numbers on the season.
And he's not ideally suited from a mobility standpoint for what Butch Jones and Mike Bajakian, the offensive coordinator, want to do in this offense. More like what they did at Cincinnati, Zach Collaros, etc. What they want to do is get to the edge with the quarterback.
And his throw off the mark. So it's 3rd down. Let's check in with Reese Davis now in the studio.
Dave, this is SportsCenter right now, presented by the Bank of New York Mellon. Texas Tech on the road, Davis Webb to Jason Morrow. And I say it's always using your melon. If you throw it to Jason Morrow, that guy's a weapon. Red Raiders up 7-0 on the road.
Tigers here, it's 3-0 for Tennessee. And a 3rd down and 5. Vols have the ball at midfield. They fake it to Howard. And a tight end, Brendan Downs, made the catch, but he's going nowhere fast. Sky Moore coming off suffering a concussion against Arkansas, healthy enough to play today, made a big hit, and it's 4th down.
Well, those linebackers are young. They lost 5 seniors at the linebacker position from a year ago, and they've had trouble in stopping the run and stopping misdirection pass. And Sky Moore is a true freshman that they're really excited about because he can run. Diagnosed the play there and came up and made a stop to bring 4th down.
Now Pilardi in South Carolina inside its 10-yard line on the last kick. And again, Cooper, the deep man. And he had trouble with it, but able to fair catch signal and secure the ball at the 11-yard line. Big one, obviously, in the ACC tonight, maybe the biggest in the regular season. Florida State and Clemson. Jameis Winston against Taj Boyd. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows. 8 Eastern on ABC.
That might be the biggest ACC game ever.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You picked Florida State. Why?
Well, I just think that Florida State's defense, especially in the secondary, is a little bit more reliable than what Clemson has, specifically at the safety position. Clemson's safeties struggle coming up and making tackles, and that'll be a key, I think, tonight in that game.
Biggest test for Jameis Winston in his young career, having to play at Clemson. It'll be loud there. Here's Davis, big hole up the middle, breaks it to the outside. He's got home run speed. They finally catch him in Tennessee territory at the 44-yard line.
Great
45-yard scamper.
Yeah, great blocking up front. Let it roll here. You see Big Dan McCullers on the inside, number 98. Good job, and then poor angle from the safeties, both of them out of position. And when you give Mike Davis a crease, he's going to make you pay.
They fumble the exchange. The ball's on the ground. Mayhem happens under the pile for sure. And it's Tennessee ball. Mike Davis is holding the ball, saying, I've got the football. Steve Spurrier is upset. But the ruling on the field is Tennessee.
The defensive player had possession on the ground. It is 1st down, Tennessee.
Clayton Stagnick is the center. They're just trying to run a power there. Sometimes when you run the power and the center has to block back severely, he'll leave a little early, and that center quarterback exchange can suffer. I think that's exactly what happened.
They can't review possession here, so it is Tennessee ball on its 45-yard line. Another takeaway by the Vols, their 16th of the year, tied for 1st in the SEC. Neal, no running room, and look who's there again. The 3rd tackle for a loss for Clowney, matching his entire season total.
You might want to try running away from him. It's just to allow Tiny Richardson to settle down a little bit, because clearly he's not doing the best job right now in blocking Clowney. So let him settle down, run the other direction.
Worley to throw here. And knocked down, incomplete, intended for Marquez North. Victor Hampton had the coverage, so it's 3rd down and 11.
Great coverage from Victor Hampton. Last week, they held him out of the first series because Steve Spurrier was not happy with his play. He's a senior and a leader. That time, excellent coverage. He's responded well to that directive from Steve Spurrier that you got to play better. You got to be a leader in that secondary.
There was a movement on the offensive line, so penalty marker.
Ball start, number 74, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
You think Antonio Richardson was thinking about Clowney there in 3rd and 11?
I don't think he's thinking about much of anything else.
Came up out of his stance there. And now 3rd down and 16 after the takeaway. Middle of your screen, Clowney against Richardson here on 3rd and 16. And Clowney gets tackled, and there goes Worley. Breaks a tackle, trying to get the 1st down, but short. 4th down and 3. Big hit by TJ Gurley. What do you do if you're Tennessee?
Go for it. You're on their side of the field, across the 50. Brings up a 4th and 2. It's going to be.
They're going to punt.
You've had some momentum opportunities early in this game, a turnover, and I think you got to seize that if you're Tennessee as an underdog.
Butch Jones maybe looked at Pharoh Cooper and said, you know, he's had some trouble here on the first 2 punt returns. Let's see if Pilardi can pin him deep. Maybe Cooper will make a mistake again. Short punt. And again, the fair catch made just short of the 20-yard line by Cooper. It remains 3-0 Tennessee. The most storied conference in college athletics will live on a new network. Tradition has found a new home, the SEC Network, launching August 2014. For more information, go to GetSECNetwork.com. Dave Pasch, Brian Griese, and Tom Luginbill in Knoxville. Close to 100,000 in attendance here at Neyland Stadium to watch South Carolina and Tennessee. It's 3-0 Vols. Gamecocks, their third possession starting inside their 20. They've had some injuries and suspensions on offense the last few weeks, but they're now at full strength. Shaq Rowland back after being suspended 3 games for a university policy violation. And Bruce Ellington, despite having his foot in a boot in practice this week, has played for the Gamecocks so far. It's Davis. Nowhere to go. Stacked up at the point of attack. And Steve Spurrier was trying to call timeout. Looks like he got it in.
Second time early in this game where they've been up against the play clock, trying to change a play at the line of scrimmage.
And that's poor when it's out of a timeout, especially.
Absolutely.
In Knoxville, where South Carolina's been up against the play clock a couple times. Tom Luginbill's down by the South Carolina sideline. What might be happening?
Well, they're having trouble with communication. I think they've got to eliminate some of the check with me calls that they're giving Connor Shaw and just line up and run a play, because field position and crowd noise is disrupting the flow of this offense.
And you pointed out during commercial there that when they did line up and just hand it off to Davis, he ran for 45 yards. Oh, almost an interception by A.J. Johnson. Bird was running a slant. Sepp got a little pressure that forced the throw by Shaw. And Johnson almost with a pick.
Well, they were confused. Here's Johnson right here. He's just going to pop out after the snap. You see no safety, and Connor Shaw never saw him, and that's one that A.J. Johnson wants to have back. As a linebacker, that's your dream. You just catch that ball. Use 2 hands. Why are you trying to use 1 hand? Get 2 hands on that ball, and he had a touchdown.
Shaw's completing almost 70% of his passes on the year, but he's 0 for 5 here in the first quarter. And finally a completion as Bird pulls it in, but he's tackled immediately by true freshman corner Cameron Sutton, short of the first down by about 4 yards.
And if you're Connor Shaw, you need to get things under control here quick. You've had trouble with communications. It's loud. You almost threw a pick 6 on the last play. Now you got a 3rd down and 4. You have to use your experience as a senior.
All-time leader in completion percentage at South Carolina. Their only 4,000-yard passer and 1,000-yard rusher. Had a brilliant career for the Gamecocks. Davis on 3rd and 4. Powers pass. Johnson gets the first down. How about that? You got a 250-pound fierce jump.
This is what separates Mike Davis. He's lightning fast, but look at the power. He can get it in the hole, take defensive linemen, linebackers, and power for the first down. Yards after contact. Luke's talked about it earlier. That's what separates Mike Davis.
So first down South Carolina, just past its 30-yard line.
Still checking at the line of scrimmage, and Connor Shaw has to communicate to everybody what the new play is.
Play clock is at 3. It's Davis to the 35 for about 3. Jaquez Smith made the hit for Tennessee. 2nd down and 7 coming up.
I think Steve Spurrier has found that the best player on his offense is Mike Davis, and he didn't know that coming into the year. Didn't know, who's going to take over for Marcus Lattimore. I still have my quarterback, and I want to use him to run a little bit. But we've seen South Carolina's offense develop over the course of this year into more of a power running offense inside the tackles. much more so than we've ever seen South Carolina in the past.
Davis 10th of the country, first in the SEC in rushing entering today. Second down and 7. Shaw will throw. In trouble. Oh, he gets nailed inside the 25-yard line. Marlon Walls with the sack for Tennessee.
Coaches are really excited about Marlon Walls. He's matched up on Corey Robinson and just gives him an up the field move and comes back underneath. And that was too easy. Tennessee can rush the passer off the edge with Walls, Jaquez Smith, Jordan Williams, Corey Miller, those 4 guys. Even Corey Vereen, the freshman, they have got talent on the edge to rush the passer.
Well, third down and long. And again, the play clock winding down. It's at 1. Shaw never saw it. And here comes another penalty flag. The second delay of game. And now another flag comes in well after the initial flag, and it's thrown in the backfield.
It would have been a grounding penalty.
Before the snap, delay of game, number 14, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down. There was no play, so there is no foul for intentional grounding.
Yeah, the official there threw the flag, but they pick it up because no play.
And this has got to be driving Steve Spurrier crazy, but it's partly to blame. He's got to get the plays in. You're on the road. It's loud. Don't underestimate how difficult it is to communicate the plays at the line of scrimmage. It's on both Spurrier and Connor Shaw. And
Tennessee has to call a timeout. They didn't have enough players on the field. Let's check in with Reese while we have a moment back in the studio.
Taco Bell studio update, Dave. This is TCU and Oklahoma State. You know that rule about putting your heels on the tenons of punt returner and don't go backwards? Yeah, that doesn't really apply to Josh Stewart of Oklahoma State. 95 yards on the punt return, the longest in school history, and the Cowpokes are up late in the first quarter, 7-0.
All right, Reese, here it is 3-0 Tennessee. The Vols have really not been able to move the football, but neither is South Carolina. Really only have one play in this game that's been significant, and that was the 45-yard run by Mike Davis. Meanwhile, South Carolina's had 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. Now it's 3rd down and 21.
Oh, South Carolina these are self-inflicted wounds. 3 times they've been up against the play clock. Twice have gotten penalties. The turnover on a muff snap, that's been the problem for them. And on the other side, Jadeveon Clowney's just been in beast mode early on in this game and taking it over.
2 tackles for a loss for Jadeveon Clowney. Sean Carson is in the backfield here on 3rd down and 21.
I don't know why you're checking at 3rd and 21. Not a whole lot of plays to check to that are going to get this conversion for you.
And the play clock to 3 and a flag down. Quarterback draw, and Shaw tackled at the 25-yard line. See what the penalty flag is. Spurrier upset with somebody.
Spurrier's out by the numbers. Better be careful.
I think he was upset with everybody, not somebody.
Illegal formation. Number 53 offense was not on the line of scrimmage. The penalties declined. The result of the play is a 4th down.
So another punt coming up for South Carolina, which should give Tennessee a good field position again.
I think Steve Spurrier was looking for a late hit there on Connor Shaw on his quarterback, looking for anything that'll get him a cheap 1st down and get his momentum for his offense.
South Carolina scored 52 points last week. No, we're only 1 quarter in, but it doesn't look like the same offense so far. Here's Carter, makes the first man miss across the 40 and past the 45. That's been the average starting field position on the day for Tennessee.
Well, it doesn't matter where they started because number 7 hasn't let them go very far.
True.
And You see where he's lined up. He's been moving around a lot this year. Today, not at all. All over Antonio Richardson 15 times. You see the tackles for loss, and I think they're going to start this series with him on the sideline and allow his backup, Darius English, to come in. I think this is an attempt for them to manage the number of snaps that Jadeveon Clowney plays so that he says as effective in the fourth quarter as he is in the first quarter.
South Carolina's defense as a whole faced only 37 snaps last week. Here's Neal, and he's wrapped up immediately, Lane, by Phillip Dukes. That's Marlon Lane, the number 2 tailback, who's back after missing the Georgia game with a foot injury 2 weeks ago.
Now, very different than when Jadeveon Clowney's in there. Darius English is 6'6", 226 pounds. I'd run right at him.
Here's Lane again. He slips a tackle this time, finds a running lane, and gets the first down. A terrific run by junior Marlon Lane.
And this was Darius English's play to make. You're going to see number 5 come up the field. He's got to make that play. He's just not as physical, obviously, as Jadeveon Clowney. And if I were Tennessee, go right back at him.
It'll be a pass play here. Worley looking downfield. Got him in. Incomplete. Cody Blank could not make the catch on the sideline.
This ball was thrown a little bit to the outside. Very poorly played by T.J. Gurley. Looks like his right foot is down. He did not have control of that ball. You have to make that play.
He was still juggling it, and that's why it was ruled incomplete. This will give you a better look at it here.
Just went right through. He's inbounds, but
the ruling on the field of incomplete pass is under further review.
Now they're going to look at it here, and again, the ruling on the field is incomplete. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. He eventually secured it, but did he step out of bounds first after he finally secured the ball? He doesn't have it there.
No. Now the left foot is in. The question is, did he control it before that right foot came down?
And the right foot hit out of bounds.
That's a little bit closer than I thought originally.
That was the left foot down when he had possession, because if not, his right foot was out of bounds, and the ruling on the field is incomplete.
And Justin Worley may have hurt his thumb, may have hit it on a shoulder pad or a helmet. He's clearly not happy. Not happy that that was ruled incomplete, and not happy that he hit his hand.
Well, his backup, or backups, I should say, are both true freshmen. Let's see here.
Oh yeah,
the
it came
helmet
down. Oh yeah, gosh, that hurts. That hurts. Lucky.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Second down.
So there you go. The right foot hit out of bounds first after he had possession. He juggled it initially, so incomplete.
Well, you hope for Justin Worley that just bruised. A lot of times you can catch the thumb coming down on a helmet or a pad and actually tear ligaments in there, but he looks like he's going to be all right.
Or at least try to play through it. Penalty flag down. Here's a wide receiver screen to Pig Howard. Wrapped up and dumped by Kawan Lewis. But as mentioned, another penalty marker.
Illegal formation. Number 74 offense was not on the line of scrimmage. The penalties decline. Third down.
Well, we've seen that twice now. It's called once on South Carolina's left tackle. Here Tennessee's left tackle, Tiny Richardson, with the foul.
The rule is you got to have the helmet cross the waistband of the center, and you can understand why he's trying to get a head start with Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edge.
Well, look at him here. How's that any different where he was lined up there, but no flag? Worley gets nailed. His pass incomplete, intended for Howard. Worley slow to get up.
Great stunt from defensive line of South Carolina coming right underneath. That is a difficult place to be. Holloman, give him credit, didn't go high, hit him right in the chest. If you go high, that's going to be a penalty, but a great stunt leads to pressure and a conversion on 3rd down for South Carolina.
He was trying to protect that thumb, too, on the follow-through when the hit came.
Yeah, we need to keep an eye on that, because if you hit that and it starts to swell, even that can prevent you from throwing the ball effectively.
South Carolina only had 10 guys on the field. They run a defender on there late. And the fair catch made at the 5-yard line by the true freshman Pharoh Cooper.
What a mistake from him. Doing the job for the coverage team.
41-yard punt. Here are the 4 drives for South Carolina. Granted, they really haven't had good starting field position. On average, their starting field position is their own 16.
Throughout the 2013 season, South Carolina has been dependent on their offense and really has masked some of the inadequacies of their defense. So far in this game, that has been completely flip-flopped. Their defense has kept them in this game, and the offense is trying to find their legs.
Shaw in the pistol, and Davis off the right side breaks a tackle and lunges for the first down marker at the 15-yard line. Hit by Walls.
Boy, he gets up a little bit gimpy.
Yeah, he's calling for a sub. The coach has said, nope, stay out there. He was calling to come to have Sean Carson come in the game.
Tell you what, if that's going to happen, I'll just go back down on the ground, buy myself a little time, force me to get a replacement.
They'll give it to Davis. And again, he runs over a defender. This time at safety, Ladero McNeil. Gain of about 8.
Not only do they not let him come out, but they give him the ball again. It looks like he got his ankle caught or his foot caught underneath. And maybe South Carolina, the coaches on the sideline, didn't see it, but if he had signals to come out, it's one thing not to let him come out. It's a whole other thing to turn around and hand him the football.
And Carson was in there, but it's the end of the first quarter. Sloppy opening period here in Knoxville, but Tennessee will take it, a 3-0 lead for the Vols. Tennessee quarterback Justin Worley, a question mark now to return. Hurts his right hand, hitting the thumb on the helmet of Gerald Dixon. Saw him throwing on the sideline a little bit earlier, and they're also getting one of the backups, Riley Ferguson, warmed up. Let's get an update from Tom.
Well, guys, I'm standing right behind the bench here and watching Justin Worley as they work on his thumb. He's trying to make some throws. You can tell he doesn't have the velocity that he's accustomed to having on the football. Also went over and got the center, trying to take some snaps from under center if he had to. It's not looking good right now. We'll keep you updated.
And meanwhile, Mike Davis has not returned. It is Sean Carson at tailback. 2nd down and a yard, and Shaw will throw. And Shaw going downfield and got a man. It's pulled in by Damiere Byrd. He'll take it to the house. Touchdown, Carolina. A 76-yard touchdown pass by Connor Shaw.
When you pound Mike Davis and establish that running game, defenses have to respect it, and Damiere Byrd is their big play wide receiver down the field with the speed to make him pay.
He's a sprinter on the track team. 45-yard touchdown catch against Arkansas, 62-yard touchdown catch against Kentucky, and a 76-yard touchdown reception here today. And the extra point by Fry makes it 7-3 Gamecocks.
You take a look, they're just going to run the post on the outside. Here's Byrd, here's the tight end, and watch the reaction from the safety. As soon as Connor Shaw sees the safety take the tight end, he knows he's got Byrd, and there's no question that he's going to outrun the defense with his speed, and it's perfectly thrown ball. Great balance when this offense, which has started slow in the first quarter, but when they get the play action pass working and Connor Shaw is throwing the ball as effectively as he is this year, then you get 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. You get the kind of efficient play that Steve Spurrier has been talking about in this offense is difficult to stop.
There are some great quarterbacks in the SEC. Where do you put Connor Shaw in the conversation?
I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the SEC. I don't think he's the best, because there's some really good quarterbacks playing right now, but he is the most underrated. And if I had one game to go and win, the competitive nature of Connor Shaw, the toughness, you know what you're going to get from him. I feel pretty good about him in that game.
Over Johnny Manziel, over A.J. McCarron?
I'm not going to say he's better than those guys, because over time, A.J. McCarron has proven himself. You have to respect that. And Johnny Manziel is a once-in-a-generation player. But I don't think it's fair to always compare guys, right? I mean, Connor Shaw is going to go out as the winningest quarterback in South Carolina history, and he deserves the credit for that. And he deserves the credit for the way that he's played in efficient fashion this year.
He is 2 wins shy of Todd Ellis, tying the record. He's the play-by-play guy for South Carolina. See, all play-by-play guys aren't pencil necks. You got a former quarterback. Maybe you'll be a play-by-play guy eventually.
You want me to take your job?
You could take Reese's job. How about that? Reese, go ahead. I'm not going to give it up that easily, Dave. Innovative Look brought to you by AT&T. Tonight, Florida State and Clemson. Vic Beasley's been better than anybody sacking the quarterback, but it's going to be tough to get Jameis Winston on the ground, as Maryland found out. Winston, after escaping, keeps his eyes downfield and finds the golden cub, Nick O'Leary, for the touchdown. Florida State and Clemson on ABC tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern.
All right, Reese, and Justin Worley is back out there at quarterback. First down for Tennessee on the 25-yard line. It's Neal, met in the hole and pushed back. He's still got about 3 yards. What's the biggest challenge for Worley playing with that injured thumb? Is it on the snap? Is it on the throw?
Well, it's on both. I mean, you take that snap and that ball comes up if he's under center. Now, I don't anticipate him being under center. Let's keep an eye on that. But once you go to throw the ball, the thumb is the anchor point, right? And so you have to have strength there. And if he's got swelling in that joint, it'd be very difficult to control the spin on the ball.
They're going to run it again. And a big hole for Neal. First down, Tennessee to the 40-yard line. That's a 12-yard gain before Marquise Roberts makes the tackle.
Well, you're going to have the running game on the inside if your quarterback is having trouble gripping the football. And Rajon Neal has been reliable, steady in the running game for Tennessee this year.
159 yards per game. The last 2 gets dropped in the backfield here by Kelsey Quarles. So is that just a bad read there by Worley, or just a good play by Quarles?
Well, I think what's happening now is South Carolina understands that they don't know if Justin Worley can throw the ball, so they're going to bring all kinds of pressure to stop the run on the inside. I don't even think there's a read involved here. Justin Worley's just giving Rajon Neal the football.
So he's not a threat to run, so it's a design handoff, even though it might look to a casual fan like it's the read option. Worley finds Howard, who breaks a tackle. Can't get the first down, but makes it a 3rd down and manageable situation. 3rd down and about 4.
Well, that's the first pass we've seen, and it was on target, so hopefully he'll be able to play through this. But you're right, Worley is not a mobile threat, and so in this offense, which we know from Butch Jones really want to have a mobile quarterback, they are missing that in Justin Worley, but they do make up for that with his ability to throw the ball a little bit.
3rd down and 4 out of an empty set. That's Howard, the motion man. And Worley fires incomplete, but a flag. Marquez North, the intended receiver. He was being covered by Ahmad Christian. It'll be a first down for Tennessee. Two penalty markers on the play.
Pass interference, number 4, defense. The penalty is a first down at the spot of the foul.
Marquez North is a big wide receiver, 6'4", 215 pounds, and Christian just gets there a little bit early. The right hand, he tried to pull it off. I think that's a good call.
So again, Tennessee and South Carolina territory. Here's a pitch to Devin Young, who was coming on the jet sweep. He's to the 37, so a gain of 4 there.
And you see Tennessee has been focusing a lot of these plays on the right side of the field because that's away from number 7 for South Carolina. I think they've learned that if we're going to get some yardage, we got to throw the ball quick, run the ball to the right side of the formation away from Clowney.
All 23 snaps for Clowney have been played at right defensive end. Worley will throw on 2nd and 6. Wide open in the middle of the field as the tight end downs, and he's to the 20. A 17-yard pass play.
Well, they're just going to manage Clowney with quick passing game. You're going to see here he is. He's going to release, and they throw the ball right around Clowney's ears. Nobody left there. Missed assignment from the linebacker position where the struggles have been for South Carolina, picking up in man coverage.
Back to the ground game, and Neal dives for the 15-yard line out of the arms of Marquise Roberts. That's a 5-yard pickup. Worley looks okay so far throwing the football after the injury. And Rajon Neal continues to be effective. Former wide receiver, played running back last year and this year. He's 4th in the SEC in rushing. Here he is, a big 3rd down here for Tennessee. Already got down here once and had to settle for a field goal. There is an injured volunteer. It's Alex Bullard, the left guard, who's already been banged up. Hurt some in practice this week. His backup, Marcus Jackson, is a guy that started before. We'll see if he replaces him when we come back.
Visit Watch ESPN anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
The Tennessee River back here in Knoxville. Temperature around 65 degrees. Cloudy and cool for mid-October game here between Tennessee and South Carolina. Wide open SEC East. And wrapped up, but a penalty flag down. Clowney made the tackle on Neal, but may have gotten the face mask and twisted it, which would give Tennessee a 1st down. That was 3rd down and 2 right there. And he would have stopped him.
Yeah, that's a big penalty.
Personal foul, face mask, number 7 defense. Half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. 1st down.
That could be potentially a 4-point penalty. They would have been forced to attempt a field goal right there. I don't think they would have gone for it on 4th down, but hands up around the face mask.
Well, that was an easy call for the official. So 1st down and goal for Tennessee at the South Carolina 6-yard line. And Worley under center here with that injured thumb. Neal on maybe a yard. Chaz Sutton leading the charge. South Carolina, they'll spot him at the 6, so officially no gain.
I know that Butch Jones would prefer to be physical and run this football into the end zone, but South Carolina is not going to allow him to do that. They are stacking the box. It's man-to-man, one-on-one coverage on the outside, and they're going to force Justin Worley to throw this football. They've got 2 guys, Marquez, North, and Kroom, who are big wide receivers on the outside.
10th play of the drive. Worley will throw, facing pressure. End zone pass is caught. Atonement for Pig Howard after the big fumble in overtime against Georgia 2 weeks ago. Nice catch there. Touchdown, Tennessee.
South Carolina expecting run, playing man-to-man coverage. And Pig Howard has been their most consistent player on offense. He was outstanding against Georgia. Had his heart ripped out on that play you mentioned. Gets a big touchdown.
Extra point makes it 10-7. Worley with his 10th touchdown pass, the 3rd touchdown catch for Alton Pig Howard.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by New Windows. Tweet your Saturday Superfan photos to College Game Day for a chance to win a trip to a bowl game.
A critical game for South Carolina and the SEC East race. Worley, they're actually looking at the back of his left hand. It's the right thumb that he hurt earlier, but looked okay throwing the ball on that drive. A 6-yard touchdown pass to Pig Howard. He's got blood on the left hand, banged up thumb on the right hand.
That's all right. Let you know you've been out there working. A little blood, big deal. Looked like on that throw, right on the target.
Another deep kickoff, and Cooper will take a knee. It will come out to the 25 for South Carolina. The chase for the Sprint Cup meets the big one at Talladega Super Speedway with only 5 races left. Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson still out in front. Anything can happen, though, at NASCAR's most unpredictable track. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5-Hour Energy, Sunday at 1 on ESPN. Coming into this game, you got South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida all tied at 3-1, trailing Missouri, who is atop the SEC East at 2-0. Missouri playing Florida right now. Tennessee is 0-2 on the season in conference play, and the only wins overall for the Vols this year were against South Alabama, Austin Peay, Western Kentucky, but they were close against Georgia, and they've got South Carolina by 3 early second quarter right now. Davis back on the field, and he'll get it. Trying to cut to the outside. Oh, a somersault after the hit by Justin Coleman, and minimal gain on the play.
This Tennessee defense is playing with some swagger. Coming up from the secondary, Coleman. All these secondary players. We had a chance to talk to Brian Randolph last night. We asked him if he would try to tackle Mike Davis high or low, and he said, I think I'll probably go low. He's 215 pounds and very difficult to bring down. Great tackle by Coleman.
And a bad snap. Shaw in trouble. Down he goes. Actually got a yard before Danny O'Brien was there for Tennessee.
Things just haven't been in sync for South Carolina on offense. Outside of the long touchdown pass, that ball comes up high. It's very difficult as a quarterback when that happens, because you want to have your eyes downfield reading coverage and seeing where to throw the football. And when that ball takes you off, it knocks all your rhythm off.
Shaw fires to Ellington. Couldn't hang on. 4th down. First time that Ellington has been targeted today. Coming off a foot injury. South Carolina will punt. He would have been short of the first down. He was looking to try to get that yardage before he secured the ball.
And it hasn't gone well for Connor Shaw, but there's going to be days like this, right, where things don't go as smoothly as you hoped or wanted. And Steve Spurrier, hopefully, we don't know, but
another short punt. Takes a couple of South Carolina hops, but still Tennessee with decent field position on its 39-yard line after a 40-yard punt. Well, last year, Antonio Richardson got the better of Jadeveon Clowney, except for the final play. Richardson remembers this was pregame pointing at Clowney. Clowney has won the battle today, though. Clowney beat Richardson for a strip of the football, a sack forced fumble that preserved the win last year. And Clowney, so far in this ball game, 28 of 30 snaps played, and of the 28 snaps, he's been at right defensive end every one of them, and he's got 2.5 tackles for a loss. He had 3 through the first 6 games.
The way that he's played, he affects every single game he plays in. In fact, he affects every single snap that he plays in. Offenses have got to be accounting for him on every play.
Movement by everybody. Flags down.
False start, number 85, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Brian, you had a lot of people questioning Jadeveon Clowney the last few weeks. After he decided to sit out the Kentucky game, he had the reaction by Steve Spurrier after the game where he backtracked later. He reiterated to us this week when we spoke to Spurrier on the phone that, hey, we all handled it poorly. What he didn't say was, I handled it poorly, meaning the coach. He should have. He continued to say that everybody handled it poorly, as Worley throws complete, but not much there on the gain as Downs makes the catch.
Which he absolutely should have. I think you know, Steve Spurrier, the thing that got me was when he said, if he wants to play, he can play. It wasn't that if he's able to play, he can play. And he was inferring that he may not have been injured and decided that he didn't want to play. When in fact, we've now found out that the rib injury was not a bruise, but it was actually cartilage and a muscle issue, which is very difficult to play with. So I just felt like Steve Spurrier did not handle any part of that whole interaction well.
Run play on 2nd and 14. And close to midfield, Marlon Lane. And looks like he's got a first down.
Well, the combination of Rajon Neal and Marlon Lane now, and this big offensive line, people forget this isn't just about Tiny Richardson and Jadeveon Clowney. This offensive line with James Stone, Zach Fulton, Jawan James, all 4 of those guys up front will play on Sundays. This is probably the best offensive line in the SEC, and they're starting to exert their will.
Worley will throw here. Clowney coming from behind. Worley's pass is pulled in. What a catch by true freshman Marquez North. Jimmy Legree, the corner, was bearing down on him. North's a big dude at 6'4", 220. Took the shot and hung onto the ball.
Well, Jimmy Legree played that perfectly, and Justin Worley probably makes a mistake in throwing that out there, but Marquez North makes him right.
15-yard gain, back to the ground. Here's Lane, finding a lane. 9 on the play. Yards short of the first down. Tackled by Bryson Williams. Again, South Carolina short 2 men in the secondary. Chaz Elder didn't make the trip because of a concussion. They lost Kadietrich Marcus earlier in the game because of a targeting foul. 2nd and 1. Neal, first down and more. Inside the 15. Tackled by Clowney at the 10. It's 1st and goal. A 16-yard run.
Too many bad reads from the linebacker position. That time Holloman out of position. Once Tennessee breaks the line of scrimmage and the defensive line for South Carolina, they have mismatches on the 2nd level.
Neal again dragged down. A touchdown saving tackle by T.J. Holloman at the 5-yard line. 2nd and goal for Tennessee.
And South Carolina fans know this has been a reoccurring problem all year. When they played Georgia, Todd Gurley got to the 2nd level. It was lights out. They're having the same kind of problems at linebacker today.
A walk-in touchdown for Rajon Lane. Tennessee dominated the line of scrimmage on that possession as Lane gets his 8th rushing touchdown. Or excuse me, Neal with his 8th rushing touchdown at 16-7 with the extra point coming from Pilardi. Neal already with more yards this year than all of last year, including 5 on this touchdown run. Got some good blocking off the right side from his guard Fulton and tackled James. Pay dirt for Rajon Neal. Tennessee trying to get its first conference win under Butch Jones, and Rajon Neal's touchdown run caps a 7-play, 61-yard drive that featured no third downs. Only took 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And Tennessee leads it now 17-7. South Carolina has won 4 in a row coming in with the loss last week to Georgia. That opened things up in the SEC East. You got Missouri playing Florida right now and leading the Gators. Vanderbilt is on top of Georgia. And Tennessee leading South Carolina. The sun has come out here in Knoxville. Oh, Cooper. Returnable kickoff. Cooper on the 3. And he gets walloped at the 20-yard line by Alden Hill.
Or you can sense the momentum shifting. Plays on offense, physical plays, special teams coming out being physical. We talked about effort. And that's what Butch Jones has been preaching. The culture change has been built by Butch Jones around maximum effort. And they're certainly giving that effort from the first half.
Connor Shaw, meanwhile, just 2 of 8 passing. Mike Davis has 72 yards rushing. Shaw to the air. Nobody open. Shaw takes off and heads for the sideline. Let's check in with Tom down on the field.
Well, Butch Jones told us all week long that they've got to try and challenge the conditioning of South Carolina. When the South Carolina Gamecocks come back on defense, take a look at the defensive linemen, including Jadeveon Clowney. A lot of hands on the hips. They're dragging. The Tennessee tempo is taking its toll on the front 7 of South Carolina, and that's exactly what Butch Jones wanted for his football team.
The flat it goes to Byrd, and he's loose. Already 1 touchdown, and maybe another touchdown was just saved on the ankle trip up at the 45-yard line. Still a 21-yard gain.
Well, Tennessee's playing man-to-man on the outside, 2-on-2, and that's just a mismatch. You've got Damiere Byrd on Cameron Sutton, the true freshman, and Cameron Sutton has not seen the kind of speed that he's seeing today from Damiere Byrd.
Jerron Toney there may have saved points. As Byrd, the track star, with that speed, might have been gone down the sideline. Shaw to throw again. And back across his body. It's nearly intercepted on the redirection off the hands of Nick Jones.
And Tennessee continues to play zone coverage behind. Connor Shaw tries to get this ball back. He's very lucky that wasn't intercepted. It's the old adage, throwing behind in the middle of the field late. Good things normally do not happen, but there's no reason why Tennessee needs to come out and play man-to-man coverage like they did when Byrd got that big play. Just play zones.
Flexion. Shaw with another pass play, and it's Davis out in space. Breaks a tackle. Another one and gets the first down. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio.
Dave, time for a Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. Vanderbilt and Georgia playing in Nashville. Vanderbilt had scored on a fake field goal. They tried another trick play. Shaq Wiggins will have none of it. Pick 6, Dogs up 17-14 about halfway through the second quarter.
Here it's a 10-point lead for Tennessee, but South Carolina in volunteer territory. Thanks to the passing of Connor Shaw, they're starting to get him in a rhythm. But a run play here for Davis. And it takes a couple of volunteers to get him down. McCullers at 6'8", 351 hit him first. But then you had A.J. Johnson in there as well. A gain of 4 on the play.
Well, McCullers has got to be the guy up front for Tennessee that stops the inside run. He's their run stopper. He's such a big man. That time, a great job, because if he gets by McCullers, Mike Davis may have scored.
He's John Henderson 2.0. You remember when he was at Tennessee? At 6 feet 7 inches tall. McCullers got him by an inch. Here's Davis. Trying to spin out of a tackle. Comes up just short of the first down. Toney on the tackle for the Vols. So 3rd and short. We're inside 4 minutes to go in the first half. And Tennessee leads it by 10. Davis closing in on another 100-yard game. He's been over 100 yards in 5 of the 6 games played this year, replacing Marcus Lattimore. Tennessee stacking the line of scrimmage here for 3rd down and a yard. And Shaw easily gets the first down around the edge.
That's a great read from Connor Shaw. This is a quarterback sneak around the left tight end. You don't see this very often, but that's just an audible and a feel that Connor Shaw has. He's such a good football player, has such good instincts. I'm not going to try to jam it in there when all the guys for Tennessee are in between the tackles. I'm just going to go out around the edge and pick up a first down.
2 timeouts remain. High snap. Davis trying to pick a hole. It's not there. Stacked up at the 30-yard line. Daniel Hood, who's played very well so far, starting defensive tackle from here in Knoxville. Led the pack that time on the stop.
Well, Tennessee, that defensively has played so well beginning part of this game for us. 4 times South Carolina go 3 and out with a punt. They've given up a little bit of yardage on this drive, but if they're able to get a stop here, at least force a field goal attempt, that would be a win in their book.
Another snap that was high and a design quarterback run for Shaw. Pulled to the ground by A.J. Johnson after a gain of 3, so 3rd down coming up. It's a manageable 3rd down situation, and they're close to the range of their true freshman kicker, Elliott Fry. If they don't pick it up, his long in the season is 41 yards.
And this is the situation where Connor Shaw's feet really demoralizes defenses. On 3rd down, you have good coverage and you don't keep your lanes, and he can get a 1st down with his feet. So the rush from Tennessee needs to be aware of him scrambling.
Look at this 4-receiver bunch set to the bottom of your screen, and a timeout called by Tennessee. I don't know if they had enough guys to cover that down here, and maybe that's why they called the timeout. Go to Reese Davis in the studio.
All right, Dave, coming up on the Lexus halftime report, Missouri is undefeated, and they have a lead on Florida. Everything falls right. The Tigers could have a 2-game lead by the end of the day in the SEC East. One of the things that need to happen, they need Vanderbilt to beat Georgia. Dogs are having a whole lot of trouble. And a Corso pick to remember. Maybe you just want to see Corso do something crazy, or if you didn't like his pick, you want to see Bill Murray stomp him right in the gut. We'll show it to you at halftime.
It was quite a scene, that's for sure, Reese. We were watching it here in Knoxville. Brian, take us through that last play in that formation.
Tennessee dodged a bullet. They call a timeout. Here's all these guys over here. The tight end, they were going to release him up the field, and he was wide open after they snapped the ball. He lined up at the tackle position. Take a look. It was going to be an easy touchdown. Good timeout from Butch Jones, preventing that play from going off.
That's Mason Zandy, who also does play tackle, but he switches his number when he goes to tight end. So you're right. Lined up at the right tackle position, but as a tight end.
And the worst part now is the play actually snapped, so you can't come back and run it because you've already shown it if you're Steve Spurrier.
10-point Tennessee lead. Third down and 5. Close to the range of Elliott Fry. Again, Shaw checking. Time on the play clock here. It's a 10. It'll be Davis, and he gets pinned to the ground. He was hit by Corey Miller. They were trying to rip the ball out, and so it's 4th down.
That's an interesting call there from Steve Spurrier to come back and run an inside run on 3rd and 5 when you've got a quarterback in Connor Shaw that can easily throw or run for the 1st down. Try to get him out on the edge where he has that dual option. That was a missed opportunity, and mark that timeout. In this game, it could cost Carolina points.
True freshman Elliott Fry has not missed, but he hasn't attempted very many field goals. This would be a career long 45 yards. Way off. Short and wide to the left. Tennessee holds.
And that's a 7-point swing for Tennessee. Calling that timeout, preventing that touchdown, and then the short field goal. Mark this time in the game. That's, you know, we always talk about few plays in a game, few decisions in a game that really affect the outcome. And that timeout from Butch Jones will certainly be one of them.
Now, fans might point to Steve Spurrier there on the call. Is it possible that it was the quarterback who made the wrong decision there because he checked to that, didn't he? You saw him audibling at the line.
It's hard to know what happened there, but I mean, if you're Steve Spurrier and you give him the option there, you got to live with the results, and that's a decision you make as a head coach.
Here's Clowney again, and the ball is out. What a hit by Clowney. Tennessee jumped on it first. There was a Gamecock in there as well.
Boy, that was a weird-looking play. They didn't even block Jadeveon Clowney.
Although we've seen that before.
Not a good way to approach it. But Rajon Neal had no chance.
South Carolina has the ball. The officials haven't signaled. They're looking for the ball. The South Carolina players got it at the 5-yard line. Chris Moody The officials just realized the ball's not there. They got to make a decision, though, as to who had recovery. South Carolina came out of there with it.
The ruling is the runner had the handoff and then pitched it forward toward the quarterback. It's an incomplete pass. Second down.
Was it really a pitch? Was that intentional? It was hard to tell whether the ball just came out or if he was trying to throw the ball. Tennessee trying to snap it quickly here.
They're going to blow this dead. There's no way they can run this. They're going to call a timeout. South Carolina will.
The problem is
Let's
they
take
never
a look. Yeah,
who recovered the ball.
Well, let's take a look. Well, first,
Second charge timeout, South Carolina.
he's going down
timeout.
here, and he said,
Well,
okay,
he did look like he was trying to pass the ball.
Throw it. Yes, he did try to throw the ball back to Justin Worley, and what the official is ruling is that is a forward pass, which would be an incompletion. That was the ruling on the field. Now the question is, did that ball go forward?
Yeah, it looked like it did.
I don't think there's any question that it was considered a forward or a pass. Did it go forward or backward?
That's forward. So it's
That's
incomplete.
certainly a forward pass. I mean, that is a risky play by Rajon Neal, but it turned out to be a very smart play.
It did look strange the way the ball came out.
There's definitely force of pushing that ball back to Justin Worley. So it doesn't matter who came up with it on the bottom of the pile. Weird looking play either way.
So second down and 10 for Tennessee, just shy of its 30-yard line. 44 seconds left in the half. Vols will keep it on the ground. Out to the 31-yard line is Neal. That'll probably be the final play of the half. So South Carolina, which scored 52 points a week ago against Arkansas, held to 7 in the first half today. Against the Tennessee defense that's given up a lot of points. 59 against Oregon, 34 against Georgia, 31 against Florida. South Carolina is going to call a timeout here to force Tennessee to make a decision where to run the ball or throw the ball here on 3rd down and 7. Overall, assess this first half for each team and what you've seen.
Well, I think that Tennessee has come out and played with passion. They've come out and had energy. They've gotten the crowd into the game. South Carolina has kind of sleptwalked through the first half of this game. Outside of one player, Jadeveon Clowney, who has really been in beast mode so far. He has taken over. But I think South Carolina has to wake up the rest of their players.
And what did we say coming in? We did know which South Carolina team we would see. We watched the UCF game in person where they had the healthy lead. All of a sudden they let the Knights back in the game. They've done that in other games, and then they have this complete game, this domination on both sides of the ball last week. But it's been a struggle offensively, and they're having trouble stopping Tennessee's rushing attack, getting up 105 yards on the ground of the Vols today.
And matching the tempo that the Vols have had on offense. They have been going as fast as possibly can, trying to test that conditioning for South Carolina, and they have not been up to the task so far.
So Spurrier just used that timeout just to see what Tennessee would do, and they took a knee, and that's the end of the half. Jadeveon Clowney certainly made his presence felt, but his team is trailing by 10. Here's Tom.
Coach, field position not in your favor in the first half. Crowd noise, has that affected your game plan in the first 2 quarters?
No, they're just outplaying us. They're kicking our tails, and we hadn't played very well yet. Got one big play, and I've called some bad plays down here at the end. So hopefully we can get some better plays in.
All right, from an execution standpoint, what has to happen offensively to improve field position?
Well, hopefully it's Connor staying there and throw the ball instead of running around all the time. And we just got to catch it and get some protection and then stop them.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Only 4 completions for Connor Shaw in that first half. It's 17-7 Tennessee. Time now for the Lexus halftime report.
This is college football on ESPN, presented by Cars.com.
Get your game day program here.
And there's Facing pressure, end zone pass is caught. A walk-in touchdown. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. You're watching ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Tennessee trying to beat a ranked team for the first time in 20 games, going back to the win against South Carolina in 2009. This is their largest halftime lead against a ranked team since that game against the Gamecocks 4 years ago. 4 yards on the ground at Tennessee.
Yeah, and Butch Jones told us before the game that they really need to establish some drives, and the running game has allowed them to do that. Rajon Neal and Marlon Lane have been able to get creases on the inside because of the linebackers for South Carolina. They have dealt with confusion all game, really all season, and there's been some great opportunities to run the ball on the inside because of them being out of position. This time Roberts comes on the outside. This is Holloman's play to make. He's got to get off blocks and make that play. They haven't been able to do that consistently enough to stop the running game for Tennessee. We'll see if they can do it in the second half.
Jadeveon Clowney was active in that first half with 2.5 tackles for a loss. He also had a hit on Neal that was similar to the Michigan game in the Outback Bowl last year. Meanwhile, Connor Shaw, just 4 of 11 passing, 114 yards, though, and a touchdown. That 76-yard touchdown pass to Damiere Byrd. Here's Cooper on the return, and he runs into a teammate. That slowed him down, and then the balls get him to the ground at the 23-yard line. Time for our Discover Game Changer, brought to you by Discover Car. This guy used to changing games, and Clowney gave the balls fits in that first half with 2.5 tackles for a loss, a couple of quarterback hurries.
Yeah, he's the one guy on that defense that has come to play today, and shouldn't be any questions about his focus and attention to detail in this game. He has been the one guy that's been disruptive on that defense.
Only 7 points at halftime after 52 in the win last week for the entire game against Arkansas. Well, they get Mike Davis involved here early. They have a fake with Connor Shaw running free downfield, and a gain of about 15, and tack on 15 more because of a late hit on the sideline.
Just a terrible decision by Ladero McNeil to come and try to take a shot, and it's not worth it. He's a true sophomore, young, but you got to know better.
After the runner was out of bounds, personal foul, number 33 defense with a late hit. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
He was 4 feet out of bounds.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how hard you hit him. He just barely brushes him, but the fact that he's 2 yards out of bounds, even if he just barely touched him, they're going to call that penalty. You just got to know that. Not a good way for Tennessee to start the second half. Give up a big run and a penalty on top of it.
A total 32 yards, 17-yard run by Shaw, then the 15-yard penalty. From the Tennessee 45, Shaw to the air, in trouble. And Shaw throws into traffic where it's intercepted at the 27-yard line by true freshman Cameron Sutton. The first interception all year thrown by Connor Shaw.
Connor Shaw has made so many plays this year outside the pocket. He was trying to get that ball further downfield. Comes up a little bit short, and that's really the first mistake that he's made all season throwing the football.
Second interception this season for Sutton, who the coaches say, despite being a true freshman, is extremely mature. He's one of the leaders on the back end for Tennessee. So a takeaway by the Vols. And they take over and run it on first down. Rajon Neal. Look at Clowney trying to strip the ball. And Neal gets about 6 yards to the 33-yard line.
And again, I expect up-tempo as fast as they can go for Tennessee. It worked for them in the first half. Butch Jones wants to get to the fourth quarter and test the conditioning of the defensive front for South Carolina.
You wonder how that right thumb is for Justin Worley. Hurt it in the first half. Seemed to be okay after. Neal this time is down immediately. Marquise Roberts flashing. Takes him down for a negative play, loss of a couple.
And if you're South Carolina defensive coordinator Lorenzo Ward, I think you play man-to-man coverage exclusively in the second half. I think you get these linebackers involved in stopping the run, bringing some pressures and blitzes. You've got to do anything you can to stop Rajon Neal and force Justin Worley to beat you.
Tennessee just 1 of 7 on third down. Only 57 passing yards on the day for Worley. Worley with time, and the pass way off the mark. Fourth down. Not sure who that was intended to. Bryson Williams, the safety, was in the area for South Carolina.
Well, they had a turnover in the first half, fumble from South Carolina, and Tennessee wasn't able to convert any points off of that. They went 3 and out, and now another turnover, interception, and again Tennessee's offense 3 and out, unable to capitalize.
A line drive kick by Pilardi. Cooper under it at his 26-yard line, slips a tackle. And a good play in the open field at the 33-yard line by Reeves-Maybin. 43-yard punch, short return. Connor Shaw's first interception of the season, but it doesn't hurt the Gamecocks. The chase for the Sprint Cup meets the big one at Talladega Super Speedway. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5 Hour Energy, Sunday at 1. Qualifying rained out at Talladega. And speaking of racing, this week Bristol Motor Speedway announced that there will be a battle at Bristol, a college football game in 2016 with Tennessee and Virginia Tech that will seat around 150,000 people.
Is that all? That's going to be really cool, man. That's going to be for Butch Jones. What a great publicity opportunity and recruiting tool that he can use. And we were talking to him yesterday, and he's really fired up not only about that, but also playing Virginia Tech, which will be a great opponent.
Whoever's calling that game might need a telescope with that big of a venue. I can only imagine where the press box is to call the game from. On first down, with South Carolina getting its best starting field position, Mike Davis is wrapped up for a short gain. Daniel Hood on the tackle. Let's look at our first half stats brought to you by Timberland. We talked about the rushing yards for Tennessee. 92 rushing yards for South Carolina, but half of those came on one play by Mike Davis. You heard Steve Spurrier at halftime tell Tom Luginbill that he had some bad play calls late, and their offense not good in the first half. Shaw to the air on 2nd and 9. Only 4 completions in the first half. Here's number 5. It's Byrd who has the lone touchdown. When the ball is loose, it's picked up by Tennessee. They didn't rule him down, so it's volunteer ball. Randolph running with it. Now the officials blow it dead. Now the officials blow it dead at the 46-yard line. It'll be South Carolina ball. It took a while, though, for the officials to make that decision.
Well, and typically they will do it.
The runner was down. First down.
Typically they will do it that way, just so that if there is an opportunity for a return from the defense, that they have that opportunity and they can always overturn it. I think that was a good call.
Yep, he looked down there before the ball came out. Shaw stepping up, slings it, incomplete, trying to hit Davis. 2nd and 10.
Different approach on this series from Steve Spurrier. Come out 3 wides, shotgun look, and just throw the ball. No play action, just 3 or 4 wide receivers out in the route. Wonder if that's the way that he's going to approach the remainder of this football game.
Shaw to the sideline, and a leaping attempt by Byrd, but he couldn't make the catch. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
You know, Brian, to add what you were saying about what they've decided to do, just come out, line up, and throw it. If you've noticed on each and every one of the plays in this series for South Carolina, there's no check with me's. They're not changing plays at the line of scrimmage. They're just lining up and running their offense. And as a result,
Steve Spurrier is one of those coaches that will make radical changes within the course of a football game, going from almost running exclusively to passing exclusively. He's one of the few coaches in college football to do that.
Connor Shaw on a design run. Slammed down by Brent Brewer. The Tennessee coaches told us there'd be plays where Brewer would specifically spy on Shaw. You wonder if that's what they did there. It's 4th down.
Yeah, absolutely. Brewer is going to come right here, and he's the guy that has enough speed to stay with Connor Shaw. He is the one that he's a converted defensive back, and as you mentioned, he will be dedicated to Connor Shaw in any kind of situation where he runs.
How about this call here to go for it on 4th down and 8? They haven't converted 3rd down and long, and they're going to try for a 4th and long. They're 0 for 5 on 3rd and long. Here's 4th and 8. Shaw in trouble. Gets away from defenders and gets the first down to the 36-yard line. That's what Connor Shaw brings to the table.
He just kills you with his feet. They had this well defense, putting pressure on the pocket, good coverage downfield, and Daniel Hood, the defensive lineman, number 97, he just doesn't have the lateral quickness or speed to get Connor Shaw on the ground.
So 1st and 10. Here's Davis, and he's to the 30-yard line before he is stacked up. Look at him, he won't go down. He continues to splatter that pile. Corey Miller was there first. There's an injured Tennessee player. It's Daniel McCullers. We've seen a lot of SEC backs in person. Many you've studied on tape, Ryan. Where do you rank Mike Davis?
Well, I think there's no back in the SEC, in my opinion, that's better than Mike Davis. TJ Gurley is right on par with him.
Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley, right on par with him. But I don't believe that some of the backs, Jeremy Hill, TJ Yeldon, are any better than Mike Davis.
Injury timeout. Back in a moment.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building.
One of the great football traditions, the Vol Navy, a giant floating tailgate party on the Tennessee River right here next to Neyland Stadium. Steve Spurrier knows that tradition well. He's from Johnson City, Tennessee, about 90 miles from here, and he's coached now 23 games against Tennessee. He joked this week he's coached more games in this stadium than many of Tennessee's head coaches. He always loves to get a shot into the Vols when he can, going back to his rivalry with Philip Fulmer.
Endless supply of zingers for the Vols from Steve Spurrier.
14-8 in his career against Tennessee. Going back to his days at Florida as Davis gets the first down on 2nd and 3, brought down by A.J. Johnson, but they'll move the chains. South Carolina comes into this game 5-1, 3-1 in SEC play. And Spurrier and company not only still in the mix for the SEC championship, obviously, but this is asking a lot. They can win out. Still in the hunt for a national title.
Oh, come on.
If they can win out in the hunt. Here's a completion by Shaw. And the catch by Nick Jones. Somebody other than Bird, Davis, and Shaw with a touch. Those are the only 3 guys that had actually caught or carried the ball until that grab by Nick Jones.
Yeah, they really need to get some other players involved. We have heard nothing of Ellington. We have heard nothing of Shaq Rowland, who had a drop earlier in the game. 2 of their biggest players at the wide receiver position have not even made a play.
Shaw going to the end zone. Incomplete. Rory Anderson turned on the Jets at the end. It looked initially like that was going to be overthrown. He got there and almost made the catch.
Yeah, Rory Anderson can really run. Played man-to-man coverage. Nice job on the outside, but he got behind the defense there. Would have been a tough catch. Cameron Sutton got beat on the play. That ball's just a little bit shorter. Let your big tight end go up and make a play.
3rd down and 6. Here's an option, and the pitch to Davis, to the 15. First down for Davis. Touchdown for Davis. The 10th rushing touchdown for Mike Davis. A 21-yard run.
And when you get Mike Davis in the open field, you see why he's one of the best backs, if not the best back in the SEC. The mix of power in between the tackles, but also the speed and the quickness on the outside. You just know a safety coming up trying to tackle him has very little chance of getting him on the ground.
But the play of the drive was on 4th and 8, where it looked like Connor Shaw was going to get sacked. He scrambled and got 9 yards to move the chains. And then the touchdown run to cap the drive by Davis. And it's a 3-point game after the point after.
Mike Davis has been the bell cow for South Carolina so far this year. Get him on the edge, no chance. South Carolina pulls within 3 with an electric move from Mike Davis. Brian Randolph doesn't know whether to go high or low, trying to think about how to hit him, and he got no chance with a shifty move like that. 215 pounds with his speed and long length speed, but then you put on top of that the shiftiness in the open field. That's a very dangerous combination for Mike Davis.
He's got over 100 yards now, 116 to be exact. He leads the SEC in rushing. 6 of his 7 games played, he's over 100. And we talked with Brian Randolph, who missed the tackle there yesterday, about whether to go high or low. He got no shot when the guy jukes you like that.
Well, the problem is you're coming up trying to think, should I tackle him high? Well, he's got so many yards after contact, and should I go low so he doesn't run me over? And then all of a sudden he gives you the shifty move and you got no shot.
You saw Clowney imitating that going to break as the kickoff sails through the end zone. It'll come out to the 25. Let's check with Reese.
Dave, the reason you try to kick the ball through the end zone like that is we have Sports Center right now brought to you by Bank of New York Mellon. This is the second half kickoff in the Missouri-Florida game. Solomon Patton, 100 yards officially, went about 106. Gators only had 60 yards, a little over that of offense in the first half. Right now, it's a 13-10 game. You can see it on the Watch ESPN app.
Reese, Missouri 2-0 will host South Carolina a week from tonight on ESPN or ESPN2. Carolina's back within 3. Tennessee with a 1st and 10 on its 25. Worley throws it into the flat. Incomplete. It's intended for Rajon Neal.
Got to keep an eye on Justin Worley and how well he throws the football throughout the remainder of this game. You get that bruise on that hand, or your hand hit, and at halftime you go in and you really have to focus on moving that so it doesn't swell up on you, because if it does, you're hard to grip that ball.
You see he was lined up under center there. He will take the snap from center here. Only done it a few times since that injury. Neal trying to get outside. He's across the 30 and will come up just short of a first down. JT Surratt made the tackle.
Well, as I'm standing here on the sideline looking at Justin Worley throw the football, he's gripping the football differently. He's palming the ball a little bit more, trying to aid his grip, and as a result, watch him throw it. He's almost aiming the football as opposed to just unleashing and throwing the football.
Hurt his thumb on the helmet of Gerald Dixon on a follow-through. See if they can keep the chains moving here. They're just 1 of 8 on 3rd down. One of the rare times we've seen a fullback in the game. Neal being patient, waiting for a hole to open up, and it does, to give him the first down. And
just right here you see the helmet, his hand coming down on the helmet. You injure your thumb like that, and it's very difficult to grip that football. That happens. It's going to happen as you play the quarterback position long enough. Guys are around you. You got to follow through to drive that ball down the field. And thankfully, he didn't get that thumb caught and hurt any of the ligaments. It seems like it was just a bruise.
The umpire, Casey Moreland, went down. That's the reason for the delay there. Here's Howard on a sweep, and he gets drilled, but bounces off of a tackler out to the 41-yard line. 5'8", 185 pounds, but fearless. Big Howard.
Well, he's the guy that's got the most explosion on this Tennessee offense. As you see, Kelsey Quarles, our starting defensive tackle, come off. But Big Howard needs to touch the ball more. He's got the most explosion. He's like a bowling ball out there. Very hard to get on the ground. And as you said, he has no fear going over the middle.
In trouble at the 20-yard line is Neal, and they finally get him to the ground at the 42 for about a yard on the play. Well, Pig Howard had a big game against Georgia with 70 receiving yards and 46 rushing yards, but trying to stretch out for a touchdown in overtime, he lost the ball. It was ruled touchdown on the field, but reversed by replay. The ball actually came out before it crossed the plane, went through the end zone and out of bounds, resulting in a touchback. Georgia won the game. You can see that Tennessee is building off of that. And Butch Jones told us yesterday he thinks his players are starting to really believe and buy into what he's teaching them in his first year here in Knoxville. Over the middle, it's juggled and then pulled in by Jason Croom. Just his 9th catch of the year. He's to the 35-yard line of South Carolina. There's a penalty flag down.
Great design here. You see Croom come across the line of scrimmage, and Sherrod Golightly just doesn't play him close enough at the linebacker position. You've got to be on top of those guys and make that play. Kaiwan Lewis there as well.
There's a late penalty flag thrown. Actually, 2 markers, one at the 37, one at the 44. That was a 23-yard catch. Jason Croom.
After the play, there are fouls by both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 2, offense. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 21, defense. Those fouls cancel. It's a first down.
So you had Pig Howard and Marquise Roberts for Tennessee and South Carolina, respectively. Longest play of the game for Tennessee, 23 yards, puts the ball at the South Carolina 35. Marlon Lane now in the game at tailback. Worley will throw instead. It's Howard, and he's wrapped up by Bryson Williams. No gain, maybe even a loss. Let's go to Reese.
Dave showed you a moment ago how Florida had gotten back in the game. Missouri answered it, walked right back down the field, and on a big 3rd and 5, Gators don't even touch Henry Josie. Mizzou trying to go to 7-0. They're up by 10 in the 3rd quarter.
Coming off that huge win in Athens against a depleted Georgia team last week. It was A&M last year that took the SEC by surprise. It's another newcomer in its 2nd year in the conference. Missouri doing it in 2013. Worley's pass is pulled in. Johnson on the catch at the 29. It almost seems like Worley's been more sharp since the injury for whatever reason.
Well, he's certainly, you can't question his toughness. He's got a hand, and now he's going to take a shot right up the middle, but delivers that ball on time. Sometimes you get a little gun shy when your throwing hand has been injured. You won't follow through on that into a blitzing linebacker, but no problem there for Justin Worley.
Couple of 3rd down conversions already on this drive. 3rd down and 4 inside the 30 of South Carolina. Worley into traffic, incomplete, trying to hit downs. There are 3 defenders around the football, so it's 4th and 4. Your kicker certainly has the leg here, and Butch Jones electing to bring on Michael Pilardi, who is 6 of 7 on the year, including a made 37-yard field goal earlier in this ball game. This will be a 47-yard attempt. Actually 46 officially on the field goal try. No good. Wide to the left. A good drive by Tennessee, but South Carolina able to hold, and then the missed field goal, and it remains a 3-point Tennessee lead. Only the 2nd miss of the year for Pilardi. South Carolina will have the ball, down 3 when we come back. Brian Greasy's favorite part of the program, the Athletic Trivia question. Which former Tennessee player has the most Super Bowl rings with 3? You and I and Tom Luginbill were trying to figure this out last night. It was until this morning that we got the answer.
Yes, it's a great question, and you got to think about, obviously the teams over the past 20, 30 years that have won that many Super Bowls.
I'm going to give you a hint, give everybody a hint. He was known for his special teams play.
Great special teams player, but that's not the only thing he did.
Right.
He definitely played.
Mike Davis on first down. No running room. He's swallowed by McCullers for a loss on the play. All right, let's answer the Aflac trivia question.
Boy, they had to think fast, huh?
Yeah. And Phil Bates, Tennessee safety and a Super Bowl champion with the Cowboys in 92, 93, and 95.
I used to love watching him run down and kickoffs and punts, and some of the explosive tackles he had were unbelievable.
His son is a Tennessee Volunteer commit. He's in Tom Luginbill's ESPNU Top 300. Here's 2nd and 11. And Shaw again gets out of there. Look at him go! All the way to the 41-yard line. Tennessee's not been able to stop him.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. You just can't account for Connor Shaw. This is a pass all the way, and he just finds a lane. And despite the fact that Steve Spurrier at halftime said, I'd like to see Connor Shaw throw the ball rather than run out of there a little bit, I'm sure he was happy with that decision.
He'll take that. That was a 29-yard scramble by Connor Shaw. From the 42 of Tennessee. Here's Shaw again. Dropped by Brewer, or is perhaps spying him there. Gain of 5 though for Shaw on the ground. He averages 54 rushing yards per game. Connor Shaw got 71 so far in this one.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to call those design runs for Connor Shaw because he has struggled staying healthy with his shoulder. Last year again, this year in the UCF game, he went out with that shoulder, and so it's kind of it's one of the best things he does, but as a coach and a play caller, you want to protect him to make sure that he's healthy, and it's a fine line.
Well, he's got some injuries too on the offensive line. Cody Waldrop, Ronald Patrick, both not in the ball game. Got Will Sport at right guard. Shaw to the air, and wide open is Rory Anderson. A first down inside the 20. He hurdles a defender and steps out at the 12-yard line. That's a 25-yard gain.
Well, Tennessee brought all 3 guys off the strong side. You're going to see it, and there's nobody left for Anderson. 4 guys they brought. I've never seen a blitz like that before, and it might have been a bust on the defensive side for Tennessee, but nobody takes Rory Anderson. That was easy.
You might not see it again after that. Ball on the 12. South Carolina looking to take the lead.
Now they're going back to checking again at the line of scrimmage after they got that crowd noise down.
Play clock is at 3. Here's Davis, cuts inside, and look at him push the pile to the 1-yard line. Man, is he powerful at 215 pounds. We've seen him run over and run through Tennessee defenders on several occasions. First down and goal from the 1. Look at the hit there. Will lose yardage this time. A.J. Johnson firing through, makes the tackle. Penalty flag down though.
Tennessee wasn't able to substitute and get off the field in time. They get 12 men on the field.
Be half the distance to the goal, which doesn't move the ball a whole lot. They're already inside the 1.
12 players on the field. The 12th player did not get off the field on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay first down.
Yeah, they're trying to substitute down there, get their bigger package with McCullers in, and those guys run at the bottom of the screen, just didn't make it. It's a long way to run.
Yeah. From that far hash mark, the ball is almost touching the goal line on the snap. First and goal. Shaw on the quarterback sneak. Got in. Touchdown, South Carolina. And the Gamecocks have the lead. He's in.
Is there any question he got in there? And that drive, the last 2 drives, Dave, have looked really easy for South Carolina. South Carolina on offense. And they struggled so much in the first half. The difference in the second half has really been opening up Connor Shaw on the perimeter, getting him and his feet into this offense, and it's been very difficult to manage that. And then you get the sledgehammer Mike Davis on the inside. It's been a deadly combination in the second half.
Third rushing touchdown for Shaw this year, 14th for his career. The extra point just sneaks inside the right upright as we go to Reese Davis in the studio.
All right, Dave, Minnesota Northwestern. Northwestern has really been struggling in this game. James Manuel, the pick 6 for the Gophers. 3 turnovers for Northwestern, none for Minnesota. 7-point game. By the way, Jerry Kill is in the stadium up in the press box watching Tracy Clay's acting head coach.
Well, it's good to hear that Coach Kill is at least in attendance. Thanks, Reese. That'd be a big win for Minnesota if they can hang on there in Evanston. Let's check in with Tom Luginbill down on the field.
The coaches on the defensive staff for Tennessee, guys, very frustrated because they can't get the attention of their players on the team. And this is part of that learning process, the growth process of how to forget the last play and move on to the next one. They've got to get the eyes to the sideline, get the next call so they can execute the play. That's why you had guys coming off the field late. The team was not ready to play the next snap for Tennessee. And Butch Jones and John Jancic, the defensive coordinator, giving this team an earful as they came to the sideline.
Well, this is a South Carolina team we've seen do this before. They are able to turn it on. They did in the second half against UCF. Ended up dominating the second half. Knights made it close late. And the last drive for Tennessee was pretty good. It was 10 plays, about 50 yards, but then a missed field goal by Pilardi from 46.
We knew that was a tall order for that defense from Tennessee coming into this game. So it's not surprising that they're having a little bit of trouble in the second half.
A little hesitation by Young. Now he elects to bring it out and should not have. He gets hammered at the 11-yard line. Big game tonight on ABC. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows. It's Florida State and Clemson. Jameis Winston, Taj Boyd. How do you think Winston handles that environment? This will be like nothing he's seen, or at least the game that he's actually played in, redshirt freshman.
You know, the one thing that stood out to me is his poise, and it doesn't seem like the stage has been too big for him at any point this season. I know this is a much bigger stage, but the way that he's played, the way that he's reacted, the way he's become a leader so fast on that team, I think he'll be fine.
Clemson's so good at home, especially at night, as Clowney's in the backfield, but he missed the tackle on Lane, and then Lane is dropped. They're going to give him forward progress to the 6-yard line. Cleaned up by Gerald Dixon, but how about Jadeveon Clowney against the run in this ball game?
There's certain ways you can block Jadeveon Clowney. There's certain ways you can't. You can't pull a guard and try to kick him out. Take a look here. Zach Fulton trying to kick him out. That's just not, he's too fast. He gets in the backfield too quick to try to pull a guard from the offside and kick him out.
Second down and 17. Lane wrapped up by Kelsey Quarles. Short game. It'll bring up third down and long. And we talk so much about Clowney as a pass rusher, but he's dominating from his position in the run game. A lot of times elite pass rushers get questioned whether they play the run as well as they do the pass. I don't think there's any question with this guy. It doesn't matter whether it's run or pass.
Let's all stop talking about the stats with Jadeveon Clowney. Football is not all about stats. It's about how you affect the game.
Third and 16. And Worley, oh, it's dropped. That was right at the first down marker. Would have been maybe a yard short. Marquez North from its own end zone.
Right, and the last thing you wanted to do if you're Tennessee is have negative plays and give the ball right back to South Carolina, whose offense is like a hot knife through butter right now on Tennessee's defense.
And Tennessee can't keep living on takeaways. And an interception, a fumble recovery as well. Down 4. Minute and a half remaining here in the third quarter. Another short punt. Here's Cooper. Bounces off of one man. There are flags down. And Cooper tackled at the 37. But at least for Tennessee's sake, this possession will start in Gamecock territory because of the South Carolina penalty. There were 3 flags.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 30, return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
We talk about Jadeveon Clowney and about not being so reliant on statistics. He's got great statistics today. He's made some unbelievable plays, most of them in the running game, though, and these are the kinds of things that people don't pay as much attention to as the sacks. But he's been having a lot of fun out there on the field today. And you got to feel good for him with all that's been said about him and the innuendo and whether he's committed and how tough he is. I think he's answered any and all of those questions today.
And like you said earlier, it's against one of the best offensive lines in the SEC that he's dominating. A left tackle as well, and Antonio Richardson, who held him in check for most of the game last year.
Some of those plays, to Tiny Richardson's credit, they're not even blocking him. They're trying to block him out with a guard coming from the weak side or with a tight end. They haven't really schemed him well for Tennessee.
Mike Davis looking for a hole. Stood up, but again, he just powers to midfield. Gain of 5. How many yards after contact for Mike Davis in this ball game?
The one thing I worry about with Mike Davis is how many touches he gets on a week-to-week basis. It's very difficult in the SEC as the season goes on to be the only back in this offense that can shoulder the load. And right now we haven't seen a whole lot of Sean Carson at all in this game. We wonder about the health of Mike Davis going forward.
Brandon Wilds is still out with an elbow injury. He's the backup. Another fumbled exchange, but a fortunate bounce right to Connor Shaw. Brought down by McCullers. Loss of a couple, so that'll make it 3rd and long.
Well, Clayton Stadnick, the center, just dribbled this ball back. It must have slipped out of his hands. Connor Shaw alert to just get that ball and get down.
Huge 3rd down for Tennessee's defense with all the momentum favoring South Carolina. It'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Shaw flushed out of the pocket. Going to try to run for the 1st down. He's awfully close. They spot him right at the 1st down marker. Looks like he's got it at the 45. It is a 1st down for South Carolina. That quarter was all about Connor Shaw running the ball. It started with a 4th and 8 where he picked up 9 yards. And Shaw really a big factor on the ground. Threw his first interception, but it didn't cost him. South Carolina leads by 4.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Big conversion for Connor Shaw on that 3rd down. Take a look at Jerron Toney. Had a chance to maybe knock him out of bounds before he got the 1st down, but you can't help but think about what Jerron Toney's thinking about there. The penalty that was assessed earlier in the game when they hit Connor Shaw late out of bounds to Ladero McNeil. It's so hard to play defensive back these days, whether you can or can't hit a guy on the sideline, how you can hit a guy with a targeting rule. It's very difficult, and all of the rules now are skewed to help these offenses score more points.
South Carolina outscored Tennessee 14-0 in the 3rd with 163 yards of total offense, 116 on the ground. That's Sean Carson in the game now at running back on 1st and 10, and Shaw will throw. Stepping up, throwing deep, single coverage down the sideline, and the pass is out of bounds. Intended for Nick Jones. Jed Shaw in that 3rd quarter run for 9 yards and a 4th and 8, and he just ran for 7 on 3rd and 7 to keep the chains moving. Tennessee has been unable to stop Shaw running the ball. They elected to take a shot on 1st down. If they go back to the ground, they're going to keep Carson in for Davis here on 2nd and 10. Only 7 completions for Connor Shaw on the day. Also threw his first interception in some 180 passes. A little rollout for Shaw. Everybody covered, and Shaw throws it away. So 3rd down and 10. Do you agree with the play calling here to take a shot and then throw the ball on 2nd down when you've been running the ball pretty easily against Tennessee?
No matter what Steve Spurrier does in his offense. So they have a great back like Marcus Lattimore or Mike Davis, or a running quarterback like Connor Shaw. He is always going to want to play pitch and catch. I mean, that's just who he is. And so it bothers him that Connor Shaw is 7 for 20 so far in this game. He wants to throw the ball, so I just don't think he can help himself in cases.
Obviously, watch 14 here on the scramble if you're in orange. South Carolina has not converted in 3rd and 10 or longer. Shaw rolling out, in trouble, and he's going to get taken down. The ball comes out, but they rule Shaw down, tackled by Marlon Walls. And so it's 4th down, and South Carolina is going to have to punt the football. That's a 3rd sack for Tennessee today.
Well, and this is, whether you agree with the play call or not, and then he's definitely down, his elbow comes down there. I think that was a missed opportunity, only because you don't necessarily have to throw the ball 15 yards to get a 1st down on 3rd and 10, but at least throw the ball underneath and get 6, 7, 8 yards, and at least allow yourself to attempt a field goal and make this a 7-point game.
Tyler Hall will punt it away here on 4th and long. Another short kick, and the fair catch made at the 17-yard line by Jacob Carter as we check in with Reese Davis in the studio.
Dave, this is Michigan State and Purdue. 4th quarter, only a 7-0 game, but the Spartans deep in the red zone, so they go to a little trickery. Tony Lippett, Andrew Gleichert, who is by himself. Antonio always has something like that in his back pocket. 14-0 Spartans.
Who do you think right now is the best team in that division of the Big Ten?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, that's a tough question. Right? It looked earlier like it was Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, the Michigan State game will know a lot more. Michigan and Nebraska, those three. I mean, it hasn't been pretty, that's for sure.
Ohio State clearly the favorite in the Big Ten right now, as Neal is knocked down at the point of attack by Sherrod Golightly.
I think Tennessee is going to really ratchet up the pace here, try to get some momentum back from South Carolina.
Neal again, and dragged down from behind by Holloman. So a loss of 3. Now you're in an obvious passing situation here. 3rd down and 12.
And this is where you really miss the mobility at the quarterback position. You run the zone read, the zone power, but you don't have the element to keep the defense honest with the legs of the quarterback like Connor Shaw provides for South Carolina, and the defense just tees off on the running back.
And Tennessee, which ran the ball so well in the first half, nothing on the ground here really in the second half. Now an empty set, 3rd down and long. Here comes pressure, and Worley trying to run, breaks a tackle, and then dragged down, and a penalty marker is thrown on Quarles. He got the 1st down anyway, and now tack on 15 more for the face mask. Either that or a horse collar tackle.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 99, defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
It never fails. I talk about Justin Worley not being able to move or run, and sure enough, he gets the 1st down with his legs. Sherrod Golightly came free, and Worley did just enough to get away from him and then tack on an extra 15 for Quarles.
So that's big for Tennessee. It puts the ball on its 42-yard line. 12.5 to go here in the 4th. The Vols trail by 4. Bad snap. Worley able to scoop, and then Neal gets nailed by Legree. And Neal shaken up on the play.
These are the worst hits. And you don't see it coming, and they go low. And that should be a penalty. You know that? That should be a penalty. When there's a defenseless player and they go right at the knee, just like you go at the head.
So at some point you're saying you're almost going to have like a strike zone?
Yeah,
exactly.
A hitting zone? I mean, that's what we have now is a strike zone.
Now 2nd down and 17. Time to throw. Worley going deep, and the pass is pulled in. What a grab by true freshman Marquez North at the 16-yard line of South Carolina, with Bryson Williams defending. 48 yards. Look at this.
This is why they're so excited about the true freshman. 6'4", goes up, he's strong. That's the thing that Mike Bajakian, the offensive coordinator, likes most about North is his strength to the football.
Marlon Lane, gang tackled at the 13-yard line, so 2 or 3 yards there.
And I think they should do more of that, Dave, attacking this secondary. It's the weakness of South Carolina's team, and despite the fact that you don't have a whole lot of playmakers on offense, Marquez North is one of them. Throw the ball downfield, allow him to go up and make plays.
Here comes Howard in motion. He'll get it on the handoff. One-on-one with the defender. And South Carolina able to get him down. Bryson Williams was there first for the Gamecocks. So that's a loss on the play of 3 yards.
And that's a good play by Bryson Williams. They have been much maligned in reading and making those plays on the second level. But that time he diagnosed it perfectly and was not faked out. And brings up a big 3rd and 10 here where, again, you have to account for Marquez North. He's hot right now. You might want to feed him the ball. Right up here at the top of the screen.
Worley steps up, goes to the end zone, incomplete. There were 3 defenders and only 2 receivers there, so it's 4th down, and here comes the field goal team.
And I don't get that. I mean, you had Marquez North on the backside completely free, is one-on-one with Victor Hampton, and you're going to throw this ball into 4 defenders, 3 defenders, and 2 wide receivers.
And if the defender was looking for the ball, it was an interception.
And anytime you have 2 receivers in one spot, it's a bust, right? You're never going to have 2 receivers in one spot, so not very well executed.
Pilardi just missed a 46-yarder, but he comes back and nails a 33-yarder, and that pulls Tennessee within 1. Tennessee trying to beat a ranked team for the first time in 4 years and get its first conference victory for new head coach Butch Jones. A touchdown run by Neal, a touchdown catch by Pig Howard. But can Tennessee stop Mike Davis? Over 100 yards for the 5th time this season. And South Carolina leads Tennessee by 1. Just outside 10 minutes remaining. Second half, for the most part, dominated by South Carolina. But the defense for Tennessee got a big stop. And their drive aided by a penalty. And then Tennessee able to get a 33-yard field goal from Michael Pilardi to pull within 1. Field position has been so important in this game. South Carolina's average starting field position has improved continually throughout the game. Now it's at the 22-yard line. They were backed up around their 15 in the first half most of the time. Cooper stutter step now takes it out. But across the 20 and across the 30. A penalty flag down. Cooper finally tackled at midfield, but this one's coming back. So instead of having field position in midfield, if this is on the Gamecocks, they'll have it around their 10-yard line.
During the return, holding number 20, return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of foul. First down.
That's TJ Gurley, number 20, right there in the middle of the screen. He's got a handful of jersey. And once that guy starts to fall down, you get overextended. That's when the official sees it.
Oh, for Tennessee, that's big. That's about a 40-yard difference in field position. We talked about the importance of field position. South Carolina backed up to its 11. That gets the crowd involved here. About 100,000 in Neyland Stadium. Dying for a conference win. Their last victory against the ranked team was versus the Gamecocks in 09. They've lost 19 in a row. Of course, just about every other game they play is against the ranked team in the SEC. Mike Davis gets the call. He's up to the 14-yard line. About 3 on the play.
Well, you got to stop Mike Davis, or at least slow him down. But more importantly, in the second half, you can't lose sight of the perimeter runs from Connor Shaw. That's what's really started to open up this South Carolina offense. So if you're the Tennessee defense, you've got to have athletes on the perimeter like A.J. Johnson and Brewer that can run with Connor Shaw and keep him contained.
135 rushing yards for Davis. 6th time in 7 games this year he's over 100. Shaw on the option will keep, and there was no running room. Good job backside by Corey Vereen, and that forced Shaw to just take a dive. He got a couple yards.
And that's a great play by Tennessee's defense, understanding that you can't allow number 14 to beat you with his legs. Great containment, nowhere for him to go. Bring up a big 3rd and 6. Now here in the rush lanes, Dave, when you want to rush the quarterback, if they're going to throw it on 3rd and 6, you got to make sure that you have lane integrity. What that means is don't allow Connor Shaw a big opening in the middle of the formation to run for a 1st down.
Shaw steps up. Nowhere to go. He's sacked. Corey Vereen was there for Tennessee, forcing a punt.
They finally get to him. I don't know that they had lane integrity, though. Connor Shaw held on this ball a little bit too long. He could have run right there and made a 1st down. Instead, he holds on to it too long, and Vereen gets him from behind, and they get a turnover on downs.
Had a chance to flip the field. The punting has not been good today. Tyler Hull will kick it from around his 3, and Jacob Carter waits for it at his 43-yard line. 8 minutes to go. South Carolina leading by 1. With Missouri winning a 2nd loss as there's a penalty flag down. Boy, if this is on Tennessee, it appears to be on South Carolina. So on Tennessee, it would have been 1st down. Delay. Another delay again, probably. That's 3 delay game penalties on South Carolina. I was saying if South Carolina gets a 2nd loss with the way Missouri's playing, even though they meet next week, it's going to be awfully hard for Steve Spurrier and company to win the East. Already a loss to Georgia. And Georgia is winning against Vanderbilt, trying to go to 4-1 in league play. So now punting from the end zone. Tennessee will have it at the 35-yard line. A miserable kick. 23 yards.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. Get the right car without all the drama. Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Butch Jones recognizing the momentum shift in favor of his Volunteers after a 23-yard punt. Ball at the 35. We'll see if Jadeveon Clowney can win the game for his team like he did last year, forcing a fumble late in the game on Tennessee. He's lined up at left defensive end. He's only been on the sideline for 3 plays. This is his 61st play. And they're going to run it inside. Neal, who's back in the game after getting shaken up on the last drive, picks up 5 yards to the 30.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether Tennessee continues in their hurry-up offense. Look like they will. If I were Tennessee, I would try to take as much time off of the clock in this drive as I can. I want to score points. I'm already in field goal range, but I want to take as much time off the clock as I possibly can.
Although from this spot, they missed a field goal earlier this half, a 46-yard attempt missed by Pilardi. Clowney got back onside. Neal running away from Clowney. Brought down short of the 1st down. There's a penalty marker down on the far side of the field. Gerald Dixon on the tackle for South Carolina. See what the flag is for here. Clowney jumped, but it appeared that he got back onside. You're the tackle for Tennessee. Why don't you just come up out of your stance when he goes into the neutral zone?
Should.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Number 74 offense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
That's on Antonio Richardson, the left tackle.
Right here.
They're out of field goal range now. And you see it there. He's got the face mask of the defender. And it's Dixon who still made the tackle.
That's a big penalty because they were going to be content keeping the ball on the ground and using their big offensive line to plow down there in field goal range. Now you got to think about throwing the football.
He's definitely an emotional player, Richardson. 5th penalty on Tennessee. 2nd down and 20, and Worley to the air. Here comes Clowney, and Worley throws it to the South Carolina bench. He wanted no part of that when Clowney got off his block. It's 3rd down and 20.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't know why you're going to try to block the best player in college football with a tight end. And there you go. You got the tight end. He's trying to block him down. There's no chance, and Worley knows it. And so the play is dead before it even starts. It's just not, that's not sound football.
Do you try to catch him off guard and maybe run the ball in this situation? Here, you got to get 20 yards.
So you don't have to get 20 yards. You need to get about 10 to 15 yards, or at least give yourself a chance to kick a field goal.
Worley. Pocket collapsing around him, and down he goes. Sacked by Kelsey Quarles. So he'll have to punt the ball at the 49-yard line of Tennessee with 6.5 remaining, and South Carolina leading by 1.
You got to take a shot. Sometimes you got to pull the trigger. It's man-to-man coverage. 3 guys running downfield. You got to pull it. You got to throw that football. I know it didn't look open, but give your guys a chance to make a great play to win the game. And that's what Lugs was talking about. This team learning how to win. In those situations, you've got to find a way to make a play. And that time they didn't do it. Blown opportunity.
Palardy's been pretty good as a punter, and Farrell Cooper's had some trouble receiving the punts. This is going to take a bounce, and a Tennessee hop. Be down to the 12. It'll be South Carolina ball inside 6 minutes to go when we come back to Knoxville. The most storied conference in college athletics will live on a new network. Tradition has found a new home, the SEC Network. Launching August 2014. Go to getsecnetwork.com. A 1-point game here in Knoxville. After Tennessee goes backwards, was in field goal range, but a penalty and then a sack, forced a punt. Now Connor Shaw in South Carolina with possession at the 12-yard line. 5:44 on the clock. South Carolina trying to get to 4-1 in the SEC as Shaw goes to dump it off and threw it too wide of Davis, incomplete, as we check in with Reese.
All right, Dave, Florida, Missouri Gators trying to get back in it. Freshman running back Kelvin Taylor going to get it and score his first career touchdown. He's just 30 touchdowns behind his old man Fred on the all-time list. Mizzou's added another field goal, though. It's 26-17, still early in the 4th quarter.
They're looking to go to 3-0. They host South Carolina in Columbia next Saturday night, ESPN or ESPN2. Here's 2nd and 10. Shaw steps up, down he goes. Wrapped up by Walls. Boy, he's had a day. Walls saying the ball came out, but they rule Shaw down. That's a loss on the play. And Shaw is hurt.
Oh, boy.
Holding the left knee. We did the game against UCF where he went out with a shoulder injury and came back the next week. He's a tough kid. He's going to have to come out for at least one play here.
Oh, he went down awkward. Went down awkward there with his legs caught underneath him.
They do have a veteran, though, in Dylan Thompson, who will come in and replace him right now. In this meeting last year, we saw the devastating Marcus Lattimore injury. Watch the left leg of Connor Shaw. It appeared that he was down before the ball came out, but he was holding his left knee in pain and went to the sideline with help.
Oh, that's just an awful sight there. And when you go down like that, your legs underneath you, and you have 2 guys on top of you. It's the weight of 3 people coming down on that left knee of Connor Shaw.
Dylan Thompson comes in cold, but he has thrown 50 passes this year. He'll go underneath on 3rd and 13. And there'll be a punt. Davis on the catch, tackled immediately, and Tennessee will get the ball back with about 5 minutes to go. Thompson did win a couple games for him last year, including against their rival Clemson. He threw 10 touchdowns and 2 picks last year. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks this year. We'll see if it's Thompson on the field the next time South Carolina gets it.
Boy, right now, quarterback situation in the SEC East, right, with James Franklin out from Missouri, Connor Shaw here, Florida with Jeff Driscoll. I mean, it's tough playing in the SEC at quarterback position.
Hull, who shanked the last punt, gets a better one off here and tackled immediately as Carter. 40-yard punt, no return. Tennessee ball on its 45 with 4.5 left. Coming up in about 10 minutes, ABC or ESPN2, you'll see UCLA and Stanford. Also, Ohio State looking to keep the nation's longest win streak alive, taking on Iowa. Stanford trying to bounce back after the loss at Utah. If you haven't seen Brett Hundley play for UCLA, he is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Of course, Braxton Miller for Ohio State likewise. So Tennessee ball down 1. And possession at the 45-yard line of South Carolina. They've got Clowney lined up at left defensive end. Worley pulls it back and throws to Howard out in the flat. Makes the first guy miss. And knocked down in Carolina territory at the 48, a 7-yard gain. Marquise Roberts on the stop.
Good decision by Justin Worley. Get the ball in the hands of Big Howard. He is the guy that can make people miss on the perimeter. No need to be in a hurry here. Take your time. You got plenty of time. Timeouts to burn.
Lane hit, and down he goes at the line of scrimmage. Kelsey Quarles was there first, and then Jordan Diggs got him to the ground. So a loss of a yard on the play. Now it's 3rd and 4. Are you in 4-down territory here with 3:48 left? You have 3 timeouts.
Why do you always go to 4-down territory when they can get on 3rd down here? Let's focus on 3rd down.
Well, the guy just lost 2 yards on.
Get the ball to Big Howard here on
2nd and 2.
Slot.
It's Howard in motion. Worley, and that is knocked down beautifully by Ahmad Christian, who was covering Marquez North. Are you in 4-down territory?
Now we can talk about that. Yes, you are in 4-down territory, I think.
They're going to punt.
Oh, boy.
Well, you got 3 timeouts, 3:24 left. I think I'm with you. I'd go for it here.
Well, their starting quarterback just went out. You got a quarterback that came off the bench cold. I know that they have a lot of confidence in Dylan Thompson, but maybe that plays into the decision of Butch Jones. Put the ball in the hand of a cold quarterback, see if you can get a 3-and-out.
But even if you don't get it here, you put it in his hand, although they can get 20 yards and get a field goal and then make you score a touchdown. And not a good punt. Not what you were hoping for there. South Carolina will have the ball at the 18-yard line. Tom?
Well, Connor Shaw, as of right now, it's being determined he has a left knee strain. They're going to put ice on it. As of this point, they're not going to take him into the locker room, but he will not return to this ball game. So now it's time for Dylan Thompson to manage this offense for South Carolina.
A junior from Boiling Springs, South Carolina, who we mentioned, won 2 starts last year, but you hate to see Connor Shaw, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, not able to try to win the game for his team late. But Thompson has experience. He's a confident quarterback. Coming into the season, there were many that thought he was actually a better passer than Connor Shaw, though Shaw's had a really good year throwing the ball.
That's not what they need right now. They don't need a passer. They need somebody to come in and eat up clock with Mike Davis on the ground.
Tennessee expecting that. Here comes Davis, and doesn't get much on 1st down. Maybe 2 to the 20-yard line. Being tackled there. Clock nearing 3 minutes to go. There'll be a timeout here by Tennessee that will leave the balls with 2.
You just hope that this isn't the kind of injury that ends the season and potentially the career for Connor Shaw. He's had such a huge impact for this South Carolina team over the last couple of years, and it's hard to see a guy go out like that, a guy that's going to be well, before he got hurt, was going to be the winningest quarterback in South Carolina history. It's a tough way to go out.
Let's look at the other side. Even if Tennessee loses this game, what does this say about the direction the Vols are heading under Butch Jones?
Well, I think Butch Jones has been a great hire for Tennessee. I think he brings an attitude. I think he brings a level of confidence. He's very accomplished in the prior stops that he's been at Cincinnati and Central Mid-State. Bricks to build this program back, but certainly the way that they've played today has inspired the fans here. Now the question is, can they finish and learn how to win?
2nd down and 8. They'll keep it on the ground with Davis, and McCullers eats him up at the 21. They've been waiting for him to make a play like that for 4 years. That was huge. 3rd down and long.
Really, he eats him up?
He's 6'8", 350. The other guy's 5'9", 215. I think that was a good way to describe it.
Well, you certainly can't block McCullers with one guy, and give him credit. Played off the backside and brings up a huge 3rd down and 8.
So now what? You've got 1 timeout left. There's 3:04 on the clock. Keeping in mind that it is Steve Spurrier, he wants to throw. Do you take a chance here of allowing Tennessee to maintain a timeout if you don't get the 1st down, or you don't get a complete pass, or do you try to run the ball, and if you don't get it, you force Tennessee to use that final timeout?
What I know about Steve Spurrier is he wants to win the game on offense. I don't think he's worried about burning up a last timeout for Tennessee. He wants to get a 1st down and then win the game on offense.
It'll have to be Dylan Thompson getting it done. He will throw here, rolling out. Nope, he's going to take off and run, and unable to pull a Connor Shaw. He's tackled short of the 1st down by Miller, so Tennessee will use its final timeout. South Carolina will be forced to punt with 2:55 left. Tennessee led this game at halftime, 17-7. Big Howard had a touchdown catch in the 1st half. Rajon Neal untouched, 5-yard run. Mike Davis, a couple of big runs. That was a 21-yard touchdown. He's got 137 rushing yards. Leads the SEC in that category. Then the left knee injury to Connor Shaw, replaced by Dylan Thompson. And now 4th down and 2 for the Gamecocks. A 1-point lead over Tennessee.
Don't forget the last time that South Carolina punted the ball with Tyler Hull, it was a shank. And so what's going through his mind right here in this situation where they need to try to pin Tennessee back and make them go the length of the field.
And of course, Jadeveon Clowney will take the field, and like last year against Tennessee, look to try to preserve the victory by getting to the quarterback, getting a hit. Forced a fumble on Tyler Bray last year that was recovered, and South Carolina hung on. First things first, how about this decision? South Carolina has the offense on the field with a 1-point lead on 4th and 2 at its 26-yard line with a backup quarterback in the game. Are they just going to try to draw Tennessee offside? Steve Spurrier calls a timeout. Maybe just wanted to see how Tennessee would line up. Looked like the Vols were ready for it, actually.
Steve Spurrier just like trying to trick you there. Trick everybody in this stadium. I just wanted to take a look, see how they were going to line up to my formation.
What if he comes back and they go for it?
I think that would be a big mistake. But, I wouldn't put anything past Steve Spurrier. He's got one of the best backs in college football in Mike Davis. But the play here is to punt the football and make a young quarterback in Justin Worley make the plays to beat you.
Tennessee out of timeouts. 2 left for South Carolina. If Missouri hangs on, by the way, 3-0 will be the Tigers' record. That would mean Florida would have 2 losses. South Carolina trying to get to 4-1 before going to Columbia next week. The Georgia-Vanderbilt game is not over yet. Georgia leading by 3 as South Carolina puts the offense on the field again.
There you go. Never boring with the ball, coach.
Will they call another timeout? He's standing next to the official, and here it comes.
He's icing himself.
Either trying to see where and how Tennessee would line up, or B, see if he could get him to jump to get the automatic first down.
Well, he's not even giving Dylan Thompson a chance to get into his cadence, so it's not that. I think he wanted to see how the defense was going to line up to his formation, and if there was something that he really liked, he may have run it.
How are you seeing things from down there, Tom?
I'm standing right next to Dylan Thompson right now and watching him walk towards me coming off the sideline. He was chuckling, almost laughing of sorts, as if they were just tinkering with Tennessee's defense. I really believe they were trying to get the look they wanted based off of personnel grouping and formation. And if they could count numbers, they were legitimately thinking of it. And now I think, obviously, Steve Spurrier's got his senses back.
Well, I think the South Carolina fans are thankful to see Tyler Hall run out there right now and punt the ball.
No doubt.
Jacob Carter trots out for Tennessee to field the kick. As you mentioned, been a rough day for the punter. Can he get off a good one here? He almost got it blocked. Line drive kick. And fair catch made at the 35-yard line by Carter. 39-yard punt. Tennessee's out of timeouts. 2 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. They need a field goal. And their kicker, Michael Palardy's career long is 52. So he has a leg. Made a 37-yarder and a 33-yarder today and missed from 46. Those of you expecting to see Oklahoma-Kansas on ESPN, it will start when we're done. Right now it's on ESPN Classic.
If I'm Butch Jones in that huddle right now, I'm telling Justin Worley, I'm telling everybody in that offense, we don't need to be in as big a hurry as you might think. I know we don't have any timeouts. All we need is a field goal. There's plenty of time with 2 minutes and 48 seconds and a clock stoppage with each first down to move down the field.
And left tackle against right defensive end. We talked about it in the open. Richardson against Clowney. Worley throws it this side, incomplete. Trying to hit Jason Croom. It's second down and 10. Jimmy Legree had coverage.
And you hear it time and time again. The most important part in the 2-minute drill is to get something positive on the first couple of plays. Get a little bit of momentum. Once you get later in the drive, the defensive line get a little bit more gassed, and the pass rush is not as much a factor, but you got to get something positive on first and second down.
It's Lane instead of Neal right now at running back. Worley will throw again. And towards the sideline, well overthrown. Again going for Croom. Now it's third down and 10.
When he had Croom open, just threw that ball a little bit too high. And if you're Butch Jones, Mike Bajakian, offensive coordinator, call some plays where he can throw the ball short and let guys run. Get the ball to Pig Howard in the slot. He's your most explosive wide receiver. Now you're going to have Clowney walking around the middle of the field. Don't know where he's going to blitz.
Third down and 10. Tennessee down 1. Here he comes. Worley gets the pass away down the field. And a one-handed grab. It's North again. First down, Tennessee.
With one hand is how he caught it up against his face mask and his chest. Big-time play and a big-time moment. Undoubtedly a SportsCenter top 10 opportunity there.
39-yard pass play. There's an injured South Carolina player back at the 32-yard line. So the clock is stopped now. It's Kelsey Quarles. Remember, the last time Tennessee was down here in field goal range and went backwards with a penalty and then a sack. Look at this grab. Wow.
Not only did he catch it, but the defender Christian had his hand right on the ball. We talked with the coaches again about Marquise North, and they said the biggest strength he has is his ability to go up and get the ball, his strength in his hands. 6'4", 215 pounds, and as a true freshman, he is making his mark early for Tennessee. He ran a double move on the outside there on Christian, which was a long developing play. Christian played it absolutely perfectly. That's just a play it's hard to defend when you have a player the size of North.
So as they look at Kelsey Quarles, how do you handle this from a strategy standpoint of your Tennessee? Out of timeouts, plenty of time, 2:23 on the clock, ball at the 26. It would be about a 43-yard field goal from here. As we mentioned, Palardy missed from 46 earlier. His long this year is 44.
Honestly, with what happened against Georgia a couple weeks ago, you want to take all of the chance of not going well, and you want to take that out of the equation. You want to try to score a touchdown here to end the game. Now you want to do it in a smart fashion, okay?
All right, we'll get back to that. Let's check in with Reese in the studio.
All right, Dave, we're waiting on the start of Oklahoma, Kansas. As soon as you guys finish a potential major upset there, we'll get you out to Lawrence. They're just about to kick off. If you want to see Oklahoma, Kansas, you can tune over to ESPN Classic or use your Watch ESPN app. Catch Maximum College Football all the time with that Watch ESPN app. They are underway. Sooners coming off that loss to Texas will have it first. It's on Classic right now.
And also you got Missouri leading late. If they win, could be a 2-game lead before the day is over for Missouri in the SEC East. As you look at Michael Palardy, the place kicker for Tennessee, a senior. His career long is 52, long this season of 44. But as you said, Brian, again, Tennessee would love to win the game with a touchdown.
Absolutely.
And not have any time on the clock when they do it. If South Carolina gets the ball back with time on the clock, they have one timeout. They'll keep it on the ground with Lane, wrapped up at the 21 after a gain of close to 5. Sky Moore on the tackle.
Well, and if Tennessee wants any time, they can throw the ball on the bubble screen to Pig Howard because it's man-to-man coverage. South Carolina is selling out because they know that Tennessee's going to want to run the ball in between the tackles. All they need to do is flip it out to Howard, who's one of the most difficult wide receivers to tackle on the perimeter.
Got to keep an eye, obviously, on number 7, too. For South Carolina here, if you drop back to throw. Here's 2nd and 5. They'll keep it on the ground. Lane bouncing off the tackler. Gets the first down to the 15. That'll stop the clock as they reset the ball. Remember, Steve Spurrier used those 2 timeouts on 4th down. So they can't, other than one timeout here, they won't be able to stop the clock to try to get the ball back if Tennessee just wants to take time off the clock here and give the place kicker a shot with 10 seconds left.
That's a great point. And when you use those and you try to be too cute to look at a formation, to play around and think about a fake, it's going to come back to bite you.
Letting the play clock wind down here. Game clock inside of a minute. Lane tackled for a loss on the play by Chaz Sutton. And Tennessee out of timeouts. About a 15-second difference between the play and game clocks. So maybe they spike it here. They let the play clock wind down, spike it, and try the field goal on 3rd down. They run. It's Lane inside the 10. 1st and goal for Tennessee. The clock will stop till they reset the ball. 27 seconds left. If you're South Carolina, do you let them score?
No.
They wind the clock. Will they take the play clock down and spike it?
That's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah, he's going to take it down, spike it, and then the field goal unit will come on. And it basically becomes an extra point.
Can't have a penalty now inside 10 seconds. And he spikes it with 3. Remember, inside 3, you can't spike it anymore. That was close.
It was close, absolutely. But you remember that ruling. That ruling is you can't take a snap under 3, spike it.
Right.
But with a running clock, you can. Well, as soon as you can spike it with 1 second, all you need to have is 1 second.
So Palardy on to try to win the game. A 19-yard field goal for the upset. And South Carolina will use its final timeout.
And boy, you couldn't have used the 3 timeouts if you're Steve Spurrier any worse in this 4th quarter. And I know that hindsight is 20/20, but he will look back and probably think that he would have approached it differently. That's for sure.
How about the angle here? It's a short kick, but a tough angle for Palardy. Sometimes there's more pressure on these shorter kicks.
Yeah,
right?
well, in this case, in a lot of cases, when you're inside, I used to hold for field goals, and we were inside the 10-yard line. on a hash, we would actually take one of the tackles from the left side, in this case on the left hash, from the left side of the formation and bring him over to the right side, because it is such a severe angle and you want to block the angle to where you're going to kick the football. Let's see if Tennessee does that here. But the angle is severe.
Tyler Drummer is the holder. Pilardi to win it for Tennessee. Ball is down. The kick is good. Tennessee wins it. Devastating loss for Steve Spurrier in South Carolina. Jubilation for the Vols. Their first win in their last 20 games against the ranked team. Their first win